Hello. What up, smokers? How you doing, buddy? Alright. You're normal. It's kind of like like rectangular up though. Are you able to like, you know what I'm saying? No. Like you're upright, but it could be wider because it's taller. You know what I mean? Like a rectangle on its side. But you are upright, sir. Look at them fucking titties. Holy shit. Yeah, I'll show you. I mean, it's fine. I was just saying it goes. Put it in podcast channel. It's fine. Don't worry about what I'm saying. Well, the text is backward, yeah. Looks good. What are you up to, bud? Nice. You'll provide the gaming content during the podcast. Are the Campanites only in the west still, or have you found any in the east? Well, yeah, I mean, like in the east in the jungle, though. So weird. Like, what the hell's gonna kill a Campadon out there? You know what I mean? Like, they're fucking massive. They should be all over that bitch. Yeah, I think they're fucking. They're having a train right in front of you. You don't even realize. Dude, I'm waiting for it. The content. Oh god, they are attacking. Alright, it looks like he's trying to. Yeah, but you have to get to Mercy, don't you? They look pissed off though. So I know R5 is gonna be late because he's at a funeral. But Lumetta and should be here, and then I think Shmerrick should be here, but he might be slightly. Yo, what up, boys? Oh, perfect. What up, Shmerrick? Good. Oh my god, you sound normal, like a normal human. Imagine that. What's up, dude? If you guys have cams, you're free to turn them on. If you don't want to, also understandable. This is Mortal Online we're talking about. I don't know, man. You're in the jungle, dude. It's time for that. What's up, Lumetta? Sorry. Okay. R5, I think he's still coming, but he's gonna be late because he's at a funeral. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know where this funeral came from, but he said he was good to go earlier in the week, and then apparently there's a funeral. So, he might still come, but he will be late for sure. Yeah. So we're not going live for 13 minutes, so if you guys want to go get drinks or whatever, do what you gotta do. Go live in 13 minutes. Stream is up, but they can't hear it. Oh, they can hear me. Oh.
You just tuned into the latest channel on Twitch.
I laid awake just begging to let go. I almost got to suicidal thoughts, but you stepped in. An angel sent from heaven showed me how to live again. Now I'm falling and I can't see the ground. Can we stop this gravity? It keeps bringing me down. I can't breathe and I don't wanna die. Can we stop this gravity? 'Cause I don't wanna say goodbye.
Baby, wait, I know that you're afraid, but it'll be okay if you just stay with me. And we can run from here and we can disappear, and they won't find us where we are going.
All right. Welcome everybody. This is the Mortal Portal podcast number 4. We're just gonna go ahead and get intros in, and then we're gonna get talking to. Wait, it's not even showing. God damn it! I always fuck something up. Jesus Christ! All right, now they can see it. All right, so the Mortal Portal podcast number 4. So we're just gonna have. We're gonna go down the line. Everyone will introduce themselves, and then we'll jump into it. And this week also we have live footage of the game for you guys. So that's great. So Lumetta, you want to go first? Introduce yourself. What guild are you from? Whatever.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm Lumetta from the Nomads, the leader.
Nice.
Yeah, I haven't played Mortal Online 2 for long. No veteran Mortal Online 1, but liking the game so far.
And if people don't know who nomads are, what kind of very briefly describe your guild? Like, what kind of guild are you?
Just a Fabrinum guild, pretty much.
Yeah. Like a PvP guild, or?
Yeah, I mean PvP wise. So.
All right, dope. Smokey, you want to go?
Yeah, so I'm SaveSmokey. I played Mortal 1 for quite a while. I played with Null for a bit, but now I'm playing with Legion and MO2. Oh my god, finally got this Campodon. And yeah, I mean, I usually run a few accounts, so I try and take care of myself. So I'm kind of like a floating mercenary, but I try and stick with like, one guild. And
Wait, are you back in Legion?
I'm not officially in Legion. I put all my characters in their own guild, so I can be like my own entity. But as far as anybody's concerned, I'm just playing with Legion right now. My alliances are with them, so
Yeah. Shmerrick?
Hi everyone, I'm Shmerrick. I'm in the Dreadlords Guild, also known as Dread. I've been playing Mortal since its inception, and I pretty much stopped playing when Elementalism came out. And I've been playing MO2 for, I don't know, like 6 months now. Yep.
What kind of guild is Dreadlords?
Dreadlords, I guess I would best say they are a PvP focused guild. Not so much considered RPK, but I do RPK a lot. So I would say that I'm different than most of my other guildmates, but they typically enjoy organized PvP fights.
Oh. All right, and R5 may or may not show up today. He was supposed to be here, but he's at a funeral, so he's not here currently. But he may come later into the stream. So yeah, he may or may not today as well. But yeah, we can just jump into it a little bit. So I was watching Henrik's stream. I think most of us were. And he ended up. I just wanted to go over a little bit about what he's talked about in the stream, I guess. And he revealed the sneak peek of the crab, which I don't believe he said that was never in MO1. And
no.
I didn't. Yeah, that was. I don't think I ever saw a crab in MO1 ever. So that was pretty cool. And it basically is like the size of like a Thursar, so it's like a big crab size of a humanoid. But I thought that was pretty cool. I wonder if they'll have that in like the north or the west, like by Meduli, because like I don't think a crab would be like tied to any one region per se. I don't know if there are crabs in the north, maybe like in snowy areas, but like that would kind of suck if they're everywhere else besides the north, because
They could
north
have
doesn't
like
have
snow
show.
crabs or something.
Yeah. You guys think we'll end up seeing crabs on like North Beach and stuff?
He indicated they were in the north. I would
Did he?
assume.
Oh.
No, I'm saying like as was a question. Did he say they are going to be in the north? Because I would
Oh
assume
no
they would
no.
be in like the jungle region on the coastline.
Yeah, but I mean, you see crabs all over the planet. I mean, maybe besides like the Arctic snow areas, like or whatever, but
Mhm.
like it's not tied to like a tropical or very humid climate. I mean, you probably I could imagine very easily seeing crabs in like Meduli and Toxai. The only area that I would question is like North Beach. But then at that point, it's like, what does North Beach even get? Because like, would you see turtles in the snow either? Like, is there gonna be anything in the north on like the beach? You know what I mean? Like, kind of
Yeah, I mean, that's
lackluster.
Maybe penguins and shit.
Yeah,
yeah, some
penguins. Yeah.
penguins.
Oh,
Oh no,
seals. Yeah.
Yeah.
we're gonna have OP penguins next. We already had polar bears. Jeez.
Oh, Shmerrick. Omida says you sound so goddamn professional on the mic, man.
Oh,
Yeah, I
thank
told you. That's when Shmerrick first got on and he started talking. I'm like, oh my god, he's an actual human.
He's a
Like,
radio
I was
announcer
surprised. He sounds
almost.
incredibly normal. I was expecting someone to like, no, not gonna lie. I was expecting to sound more like Sneeze or somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
just like
no way.
so. Kind of surprised me with that one. Yeah, so everyone's playing while podcasting except for me. I haven't logged in over a week, and I'm living my best life right now, honestly. So I'm kind of waiting for content to jump into this game again. I would love to see Minnow Dungeon. Are we getting Minnow Dungeon next patch? Is that what was on the roadmap? The bosses and stuff, I believe.
I would hope so. I mean, if they're not working on that, what are they doing?
I can check real quick. I think bosses was. Oh wait, I'd have to open up.
Yeah.
Well, I don't fully understand what their deal is with Minotaur Dungeon because they brought it into the game
Oh
and
my
then they
god.
removed it.
Yeah, well, they didn't
Uh,
remove it. They just it's empty as fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
well, why did they remove all the monsters? They had
there
monsters
were
in
no
there.
monsters.
oh, there
Yeah,
was spiders. There were
Oh,
spiders,
were
right?
there? Okay.
Yeah, at one point, not anymore. I think the spiders didn't they have fur though, and they were causing crashes or some shit.
that wasn't crushing me.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I don't know. I'm right there with you. I mean, I don't know why they added Minotaur Dungeon and then fully added a fully flushed out Riser Dungeon, but the Minotaur Dungeon were empty. Where's the
Yeah,
fucking roadmap?
I mean they are blocking the Spider Queen though with Boulder and Minotaur, so maybe they don't want us to access that yet.
Oh,
But
really? Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's a different Spider Queen. It's going to be the
right.
Clotho's Queen, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so here we go.
The other issue
Yeah.
is that if you butcher, like I have stacks of the Clothos spider still, and they don't drop, they're not dropping blood silk or anything else. You need the book.
So we need we're supposed to get Tindrum expansion, bosses, pet broker, and more dungeons. I'm hoping more dungeons means Minotaur gets finished. And he showed Minotaurs already like 2-3 weeks ago, so I would think that it would be time to drop the Minotaurs.
Yeah. I
Um
mean, when they say more dungeons, I feel like they mean they're actually adding like some of these caves and stuff, like the Thursar cave that was outside Tindrum, or like Tindrum sewers and stuff like that.
yeah. I don't know.
And I and I feel like in the bosses section, they're probably tying that in with like finishing the monster placement in the dungeons and things like that. So satyrs will be like a full experience, and minotaurs hopefully should be the full experience.
Man, I remember when the week it was like the day or the day after they dropped the Satyr dungeon with like the mobs in and everything. My guild was in there and we were farming it. Henrik's in my stream for like hours. We are in there, and he kept saying like, "Oh, you guys haven't found like that really juicy loot." And I'm like, "I don't know, Henrik. We found some gems and stuff." He's like, "Oh, then you must not have found it. It's worth bragging about or something." So we like stayed in there for hours, dude, and there was nothing, and there still is nothing like worth like bragging about besides like
No way.
gems that sell for gold. You know, like.
He trolled
It
you
was
good.
crazy. Yeah, we were like
That's
sitting here looking at the walls, like the murals. We're like, is there like a secret button? You know, like it's some
You just
Aztec
tuned
temple
into the
shit.
latest channel on
And
Twitch.
yeah, there was nothing. Still is nothing. It's
yeah, man.
illuminating.
Henrik's
Haven't
a
been
master
back
troll.
there.
He's always been a master troll. Just
God,
is
dude.
what it is.
Oh my god, I'd be pissed. Like now as you said that, I'm like, dude, you missed something. I gotta go find it.
Yeah, it was. I haven't been back there since. It kind of triggered me. I'm not gonna lie, but the Seder Temple does look fucking great. I just wish it had some value to it, other than just to make it worth the trip, because you can definitely make gold easier, much closer to home anywhere else. So
Yeah.
um so we were kind of talking about pre live or whatever, that housing. Well, he also showed what the like the light armor, the new mage armor, is had like a Jedi quote influence to it, I guess, when they made it. um do we think that's going to be worth it? I mean, like, because I don't understand, like, when they're talking about releasing robes and stuff, like, why would they drop down for just more mana regen? Like, what's the other benefit to going down in armor? I don't understand.
Um. Well, I mean, it really is just for the mana regen, and then depending on your armor training, like a 4 weight set. That's not like super uncommon. I don't think it's the best right now, but you might use a couple pieces of cloth. Like let's say you get like good iron soak or good blood soak, like legs or something like that in a helmet. Then all of a sudden you can wear like a plate chest piece or something like that to kind of boost you up.
Uh, Also, I'd say with the new scam kind of penalties from armor, even like mid armor, that 5% extra bonus scam you get if you're Dex Mage, that might help you get away a little easier than normal too.
If I had to guess, it'd be related to the heat system.
That too, yeah, for sure.
Oh man, that's gonna be fucking hilarious. So is that heat system? Was that only like was it Maryland and then Sarduca, or was it like East Maryland? You know, was fine, and then you go to Medulla area. Was it hot as fuck, or was that content related or continent related? Anyone
So I
know?
mean, the temperature system was everywhere, but it never got hot enough in Medulla to make a big difference. When they added elementalism, though, you were able to adjust the temperature quite a bit. So even if you were in Tindrum and someone was spamming Heat Wave, they could make it hot enough so your horses didn't run very fast at all.
That sounds
But
fun.
but yeah, I mean the main mechanics were in Sarduca for sure. You know, slowing down your horse or just taking heat damage.
God, I could see trolls. Oh man, I could just imagine guts like they can't kill your horses anymore because now horses give like a murder count or some shit. So they're just sitting in town, just like causing like a like extreme heat wave, so you can't even like run around just to troll the fuck out of you, dude. I can already see it,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's true. It happens a lot. It's really brutal actually. And so, you
Oh
know,
no.
if you come to a fight and they have an elementalism and you don't, like it's pretty bad. So you basically
Wait,
always lose
so
one to your group.
so did the extreme heat only affect horses, or would it affect like foot fighters as well in some way?
Yeah, I mean if it got hot enough, it does affect your stam and then make you take more damage. It makes you take damage, sorry.
Well, would you say like the elementalism, like in that one particular spell, right, increasing the heat like excess amount, and the horses can't run? Do you think that would be better for a foot fighter versus like a mounted group? Like that would be something they might utilize? Because
Yeah,
I never
no,
played
for
with it, so
sure.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. It's for the foot fighters for sure. You can get it hot enough where the horses are slow, but it doesn't really hurt your foot fighters.
And then you could just pick them off with like bows or something, probably.
Yeah, I mean they
That's
basically are
nasty.
stuck in two speed essentially.
Oh, okay.
Did
Shmerrick, how
they
does that
ever?
make you feel about that?
Well, I was just curious if they ever implemented their cold system because we had the heat for a
No,
while, but
yeah. I never saw any changes depending on how cold it got. There were some mechanics around, you know, if it wasn't cold enough you couldn't make it snow and you couldn't cast those spells, but sorry about that.
He dying live on stream.
Dying live on stream. It's a plan.
So I'm
But
interested. Like that's kind of weird. Like the heat system makes it so horses can't run. What the hell with the cold system? Are you getting ganked?
no, this is that Legion guy who's still here.
No, Lumetta, I think he's
Oh.
fighting someone. Is that Shmerrick? Shmerrick killing him?
I'm in Haven, man.
Soft.
Oh, good. Oh, that
I
happened.
just have a bunch of shit gear on right now.
Who was that? What guild was that?
I think Harbingers.
Harbinger.
They an anti-RPK guild?
I don't, dude. Who cares anymore? Like,
I mean, I
fucking labels are meaningless.
you think wait for ID to come back. Oh my god, man.
What do you mean? What's that?
Imperial Dreams is a RP/Empire building guild, and they had a lot of power in the first game. And if they didn't like you, your keep was just gone. Let's just put it that way.
But were they anti RPK?
No, they were like non-affiliated. They were like a trader guild, right? They worked with Wessex and all the other like merchant guilds, but they essentially controlled a lot of the game.
Do you think that was a bad thing?
For me, yeah, but for other people, no.
Wait, why for you? Were you at war with them or something?
No, I mean like so we don't have the system yet, but there's like the territory control system. Pootsin, did you play the first game?
Yeah, I did. I was allied with ID. I was just getting your perspective on it. That's all.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, you could be blacklisted, stop from experiencing certain content. So,
What guild were you in MO1?
well, I was in a number of guilds. I was in SS at the very start, then Hawk, then RPK at one point. Then I eventually went over to Sarduka and was messing with like Gosu's crew, and I got blacklisted from all their territories.
Gosu. I never heard of Gosu.
That's
Just Sardukan guild, yeah.
Oh,
that's Null. That's the guild I was actually in.
Oh, then
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
remember.
I don't know. I think it may have been because I really started playing just before Elementalism, like playing a lot. So, and then I played from there until the end of the game. I'd only really basically gotten on a few times to try and play the game before then.
so Sarduka had like a lot of insects. Farmer Joe was saying today, because I never played really in Sarduka. I mean, I played during Sarduka, but I didn't play in Sarduka. And I was I think I was solo at the time. Like I just quit all these guilds because I was just getting annoyed with like politics in general, and I was just playing solo. But did Sarduka have like a lot of insects mobs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everywhere you went, basically.
Was it like
um,
just ants or what kind of mobs? Like what? I know they're like probably fictional creatures, but
yeah, kind of. I mean, the Campodons, or sorry, the Magnetons, I would consider those more like ants, right? Um,
and okay, they were in Sarduka.
and they were not in Sarduka, in fact. And
Oh,
so in
okay.
Sarduka, all you had were these Ratsar things, really. And so you'd have like Ratsar workers, and they kind of look like I don't know, like grasshoppers, like giant grasshoppers.
Okay.
And then there was Ratsar hunters, and there were some bigger ones, like this Ratsar late. Um, those got pretty good, and those are actually pretty good PvP pets too. Somebody had one of those. They have like a ranged attacks, pretty good. Um,
Yeah.
but then yeah, there was some real big stuff too, like bigger than the Campodon. Like it's like 6 Campodons worth. Or these like golden Dana Burnus and stuff, and those just truck. So
I remember the thorax. I remember fighting the thorax. That was pretty fun.
yeah, Thorax is pretty cool.
What did you get Draco armor from the thorax? Is that what it was? Like you took the eye or whatever to Syndrome? They gave you like the Draco armor?
Yeah, pretty close. So you had to get 4 eyes, I think, or maybe it was 3, something like that. And then there was a secret path that you'd have to swim through, uh, and there'd be a vendor there. So it's actually pretty far. It's in the north, over by Cave Camp. So
Oh, the Draco book was?
yeah,
So now we'll have Mercenary and Draco in Cape Camp area.
yeah, yeah. Uh, So the problem with Thorax though is that you fight it for so long, somebody is bound to run into you or know that you're doing it, and so whether or not they come and gank you isn't so bad because you usually have enough people to fight them off. But some kid will probably ride in right as you go to kill it, pick up the eye, and then eat it.
Eat it? What the fuck?
Yeah, dude, it's
You just
happened
tuned
so
into the
many
latest
times.
channel
It's
on
really
Twitch.
aggravating.
That's crazy. That reminds me of like dragon eggs.
Oh,
It
I got
did.
contact.
Oh, PvP. Every
For my
person I see on
nightmare
one of
guy.
your streams, I'm just gonna assume it's always Shmerrick in the wild. If you see anybody in the wild, it's Shmerrick. Even though he's live in Haven, it's Shmerrick. He's on another computer.
Yeah, man, the other streamers are kind of hurt.
Wait, what?
I said the other streamers are kind of hurt about it.
What do you mean? Oh, they called you for stream sniping or something?
Yeah, no, just in general. When I do stream snipe them, they get real upset.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've been stream sniped maybe like 5, 6 times. I think like 4 out of 5 times or 5 out of 6 times it's been Legion. I'm not even lying. Like, I think like maybe once or twice it was like content or like gutter snipes and like during like a stress test or something. But like every other time it was like Legion. sometimes they told me in chat like we're coming to find you or something, but then like the other times like it's just Legion that shows up. You know what I mean, so it's like I don't know, it's getting weird. It's like a little bit of a habit almost.
Yeah, I was down in the jungle farming, and someone said a Midas' crew was coming down there, and I was like, oh, gonna try to get a chance to get them, but there was too many of them. I couldn't do anything.
This is during this patch you're talking about, right?
Yeah, when they changed the jungles, because
Yeah.
that's really what fucked me over. I was using a jungle horse, and I just it's dog shit. I don't know if you guys have played with one.
Yeah, was that the patch notes, like the horse change?
No, it was not.
What, like, why? Is that
That's
supposed
just,
to be like, oh, Easter egg, guys, have fun finding it out? Like, that's not fun. Like, you gotta let people know when you change shit. It's like, this is like kind of I mean, it's beta, so it's not as important, but it's important, like in general sense. Like, I hope they don't do this shit after launch. You know what I mean? Just like, we're changing a huge part of the game, guys, but figure it out for yourself. Wink, but not even giving us a wink.
I mean, they will. I mean, Henrik's already said that. That's their policy on changes. Is that so? Hey, I'm with you, but it's just how they view changes.
Like sometimes I just facepalm. I don't want to try to understand anymore. I give it up. Kind of where I'm at nowadays. Question for at the end: if you would have 100 extra primary points for your build, what would you spend them on and why? Well, that severely is dependent on what you're going for. If you're a foot fighter, mage, mounted, very dependent on that. So
Are they talking
have to
about
be more
veteran
specific.
points really, or are they talking about just if we have?
No, he
them?
said action primary points.
Okay.
So it's very dependent on your build. If you have like a specific build in mind, you can answer probably better. Legion stream snipe everyone. That's Bomexy. Bomex, isn't Vicness like your best friend? Or maybe that's Kranich, I'm thinking. I don't know. So anyways, I want to talk about we kind of talked about this last week on the last podcast, like very little, but like what are your guys' thoughts on them implementing housing before a fully functional siege system? And I don't mean like even a first iteration of a siege system that has like one option, probably buggy, but like a fully functional siege system, and we're getting housing and keeps first. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on that? That was a very biased way of asking that question, but I just want to know what you guys think. You think it's a good idea, bad idea, what?
I think that since they were initially planning on, releasing housing shortly after persistence, giving us some time to like get materials together and start putting down these houses, it may not be such a big deal because people will be, taking a week or two before, really getting settled, and then maybe they can, put that patch in later. But I just don't see people going out and sieging just without like at least a month or two in the game. So
Well, people probably won't be able to because they won't even have that option.
right, they won't even be able to. But if they did, I mean, you have to build a keep. You've got to build up this prominence. You need gold. You've got to farm boulders, and then after already having to build all that stuff. So
Well, you're assuming we're gonna have prominence at all.
that's true, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it may just be a gold sink for sieging. But kind of where I'm coming from, and I'm not a coder in any sense of the word, so I'm not going to pretend like I am. But to me, in my brain, it would seem like it would be much harder to code something like a siege system, like just a simple catapult. You have to first of all put this object in the world. You have to build it. Then you have to be able to control it. Then you have to be able to move it. At least hopefully you can move a catapult. And then you have to make this object damage another building or structure in the world versus putting a keep down and giving ownership to someone and letting them use it. That seems like a much simpler task than having this catapult that's now an object in the world, has to move and has to damage other objects and can also be damaged. Like, so it kind of seems like they're doing it backwards. Like, they should definitely have a siege system first, whether it's useless or not. It's important that if you have housing and keeps in, that you have a way to take that away from someone and not just give them essentially something for free. Like, yeah, you have to get the materials, you have to get the gold, sure, but once you get it, you know what I mean? Because like what's gonna happen at launch is you're gonna have you're gonna have all these guilds that we currently have now, right? Like we're ready, we have our plans, we have everything. What about the guilds and people who are coming to the game that haven't like opted into the beta, which is a beta, it's supposed to be for testing and bugs. It's not to like set all your grand plans for launch day, you know what I mean? Like there's gonna be guilds who come in completely fresh to the game because that's how they like to play games. And maybe they're extremely good at PvP, but they have no other knowledge of the game. Like these other guilds are already going to have a huge advantage, not giving them a siege system the option to take away from these experienced guilds with plans and stuff. Kind of seems like a huge fault to me. I mean, housing is one thing. I'm more or less concerned about keeps.
Yeah.
Generally, because housing is kind of like whatever, it's fine. But keeps like owning territory, and we already know that sieging is going to be much harder than it was in MO1 from what Henrik has said. So if it's already going to be much harder than it was in MO1, and the meta was to ninja siege in MO1, otherwise you probably failed, then this seems like a very scary situation that we're going to be in, that it's going to be first come first serve for what could be several months. And it may not even be like a guild that deserves a keep. It could be just some fucking ragtag 10-man guild that just because they bought all this gold or got all these loans from these other guilds just to put down this keep real quick, now they own it without competition. Like, is that the nature of Mortal Online? Because it doesn't sound like it to me.
No, there's no other way to spin it. I mean, if there are, TC buildings, keeps, stuff like that, there definitely has to be a siege system for it to work. It's just I don't know how bad it'll really be and how fast they can get it in, but if they do drag on it, that's going to create some problems.
I agree with you, Putson. I think we should have a fully fledged way to destroy something, including housing and keeps, before they implement the system.
Yeah, I mean, like I would say the same thing for housing, but if I'm being honest, I'm not as worried about housing. I'm more worried about keeps. Keeps will be the things that allow you to control towns, dictate lots of players' experience in the game, which is important for the game. And so if you have a guild that is just, I mean, whether they're assholes or not doesn't really matter, but if they happen to be assholes and like, let's say, and again, this might not be a thing, but if they turn off guards or if they make taxes like 1,000% or whatever it is that they're allowed to do with the town, it could seriously ruin the game. And then there's not features in the game for people to counter this because they just decided to release housing and keeps because there was such a high demand for it, but then there's no way to counter that. Obviously, Henrik's not going to step in because they have it in the past and like fix it because they know it's a player driven game. So then you're going to have this huge problem with no way to fix it.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know. I think it's a looming disaster that no one is talking about. Like, really, I mean, people have mentioned it, sure, but it's not like been a real conversation about it. People are just like, housing, derp, need in-game content, derp. Like,
Yeah.
but then there's no siege system, so it's like, okay, well, what if Kodo ends up owning half the map? Do they get it for free? I don't know. It could be anybody. I'm just saying Kodo because they're obviously huge.
Right.
But yeah, but then it's also a concern. Like, even if you only end up owning one keep, like, there's obviously a very high contenders for like who's going to own GK keep. Like, that's a very like strategically important keep that comes with an extreme lot of benefits. If there's no setbacks to this, then it's kind of just like, I don't know. It's just very worrisome for me.
Yeah, I think what Pocket said about the siege system coming with keeps, it probably will, or they may only have the housing system in place where you can just drop the keep, but it has no influence over towns. It has nothing except for the fact that you have a building with like a chest in it, and you can just play out of there. And then once they start adding in some of these other ways to build walls and things like that, then maybe the siege will coming.
Well, the walls and stuff should already be coming with the keep patch, I would assume, because it's all one structure, is it not? Like, the walls are already there.
I think they intend for you to be able to free place walls as well, but maybe not.
That's not the intention that I've gotten from them.
Yeah, I think the keep and the wall, or like the castle quote, is what Henrik was calling it one time. The castle, which includes the walls around the keep, I think it's all going to be one structure. Maybe you can place extra walls. I think Henrik did say something about extra, like in a very small radius around the keep only, that you can place some extra walls or something. But I don't think that's tied to the actual castle keep thing. I think that'll all be one thing. I think that'll be part of the first iteration of owning a keep / castle, because if it didn't have walls, there'd be like no point. Yeah, I don't know. Like if there wasn't walls in the first iteration, people would just build strongholds on. Would be the point in having a keep. It would cost way more too. But what Pocket said, he said people are assuming, and I think that's a very, very bad thing to assume, especially with what we know has come in the past. And I think we need to really address this, because I don't know if Starvolt's really thinking about this from like a population, like in a healthy game scenario here. Like they're thinking, oh, they'll have keeps for like the first 6 months, it'll be fine until we get the fleshed out siege system, but it's not going to be fine because your game can die easily in 6 months. So, I mean, that's... What were you gonna say, Shmerrick?
Give me 1 second. I'm fighting bandit. I was gonna say that I would like them to elaborate on how we actually take a keep and build a keep. Because I was really confused when he just said that you just go to a keep and start building it. I don't know if that means there's going to be a deed required, like the 5,000 gold, like in the first game.
He mentioned somewhere upwards of 30,000 this time around.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
I mean, that wasn't a real figure, but he said he wanted to be very expensive, and I think he probably knows how much a keep was in MO1, but he did throw out 30,000 when he said that, so it's probably gonna be a lot more expensive this time around. At least as far as gold is concerned, maybe materials are less. I don't know.
Yeah, there could be other things that you have to use, like to pay for it. Maybe there is something with prominence or things like that.
And yeah, I mean, like I'm not trying to pick on Pockets here, but again, like assuming that the siege will come with the housing, it's kind of like it makes me question, because they really don't talk about sieging much. They talk about housing a lot, sure. Well, I wouldn't even say a lot, but they talk about it a lot more than they talk about sieging. And I think it's because it's a much closer to being finished product is the housing, or at least the first iteration of like housing and keeps versus siege system. But like I don't see them just randomly start talking about like the siege system unless someone asks them a direct question about it, which makes me think that it's not really being worked on, or it's kind of like on the back burner. Which makes me think we'll probably not see a siege system until after launch at some point. But we're supposed to get housing in November.
Isn't Pockets on the test team?
I don't know. I thought Pat was on the test team, but no one's going to confirm it if they are, probably. They probably have some agreement that they can't even confirm it.
They can't.
Yeah. Which is kind of weird to me, too. Kind of... This whole, like, not being able to say you're on the test team kind of reminds me of their whole Discord and not being able to post reactions. You can't name certain fruits. You can't talk about hackers and people who are banned. Like, what are these rules, by the way, dude? I feel like I'm just, like, handcuffed when I'm in that Discord, man.
Yeah, dude, it's awful. I'm banned
Like,
all the time.
was anyone here in MO1 forums back in the day? Like,
Hell
that
yeah.
shit was the Wild West, and it was a beautiful thing, my man. Like, it wasn't over the top with, like, racism or, like, pornographic, nothing like that, but it was, like, you could have an opinion and not have to worry about it, you know what I mean? You could talk about hackers and bans, and, I don't understand.
I think there just was too many accusations going out, and it just became, like, really bad for politics. And
Yeah,
I
but...
don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, but you have people calling each other like homophobes and stuff. Like, how is that better or worse? It's like the same. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna, I don't know. I just don't know where you draw the line. Midas says siege system needs to come in with a bundle with housing. Only way I see housing being implemented without sieging is during the beta before the wipe for data gathering. And that's kind of what I was thinking too. Like, if they want to release housing and stuff like now while it's in beta, and we build it completely as we would, that's fine. But like at launch, I don't think we should have housing right away until we have siege. Like, just simply like it's a feature that is ready, but because we don't have siege, I don't think we should have it. Or maybe they have a playtest run where if someone wants to test housing and wants to get their guild ready by knowing how it works, then have a playtest realm that has a fully functioning housing system, or at least the first iteration of it, or whatever they have. So you can still play with housing, but it's not ready to be implemented because we don't have a siege system. We don't have a way to counter someone's house blocking like a small path in the road or something that you have to go all the way around or whatever people end up doing with housing. You know, that's annoying.
Did they say there's any limitations on like blocking roads? Say you put one at the very bottom of the Fabrinum path. You know what I mean? Like something like that.
No, I think the only thing they've said is as long as there's no like nothing blocking like trees and rocks. That's the only thing I've heard him mention about that specifically. So if it's flat enough, probably put a house on it, which is going to be horrible if you can build on roads because it's going to look so goddamn ugly. You just have a giant tower like right in the middle of the road, and the road goes through it. It comes out the other side. It's going to look so bad. It reminds me of, like Rust, where you just see like these. You used to see like bases all over the roads, but
They did have some limitations to where you could build. You know, they wouldn't let you build cities, so I don't think it would be too hard for them to prevent you from building on roads, and that would be fair. You know, you don't want to see houses on roads.
I thought Henrik said that he doesn't want structures everywhere anymore.
oh, there's definitely a test team. Henrik has said there's a test team, right? Like I think I've heard him say that at least. I don't know. I don't know if it's just a common rumor or it's common knowledge that there's a test team. I guess that's a fair point.
I mean, there's a test team.
Confirmed by Shmerrick, you must be on it. Moving on.
No, definitely not on it.
No, we're moving on.
That team confirmed. Oh my god.
Lumetta, you got any thoughts on the housing topic, siege system?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. Where they definitely need to make sieging at the same time as TC, because like we were just talking about having houses all over. I'm just scared it's gonna make the game very ugly. At least out in the open world, if you can't build around towns, it's whatever. But
Well, I don't think anyone's gonna siege because a location is ugly or they're making it ugly. Because Henrik has already said you're not gonna siege for recreationally. Supposedly, we'll see. I mean, that still may be a thing, but yeah, I mean, I don't think. I mean, if you end up building like a little town with guards, no less, near a strategic like location or resource, there's nothing you can do about it, then it's gonna be bad. Like, what happens when someone puts a fucking stronghold outside of a spider cave and puts a bunch of guards, but we have no siege system? And it ends up being super cheap to gear these guards and stuff. Like, what then? What do we do?
I mean, it's not clear if we're going to be able to place guards while using one of these smaller houses. And I doubt that that's coming with the housing patch either. So, yeah. I mean, I guess there's a lot remains to be seen. They showed off the models for the houses quite a while ago.
Right, where's the model for the catapult?
There's no model for the catapult yet. However,
is there a model for the catapult? That's what I'm saying. Like,
if housing is not like working at this point, what are they working on? Like they have to be working on
chest hair, bro. What do you mean?
Yeah,
Well, they should
plain chest hair.
Housing in, like
Did you not see the chest hair reveal? Like,
No, I
obviously
didn't.
this is important. I hope they get in by next patch, otherwise it's gonna be a riot.
but I'm saying they could drop housing in right now with just the ability to place houses, probably. So that makes me think that they are working on either some of these other systems. Maybe they're working on sieging. Maybe they're working on building, TC around your house. But, whatever we do end up getting at the end of November, they've got 2 months to make sure sieging's in. And if we get it and we don't have sieging, we can press that button and be like, yo, Henrik, sieging now. Or
Is there a button? Is this how we get what we want? Shmerrick, bro, you paying attention, bro?
I am, yeah. I mean, you just stop subscribing. That's the only way
Yep.
to vote with your wallet.
But then Kodo wins.
Kodo always wins.
And it needs to be a big no build zone radius around POIs points just like yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I'm wondering what's gonna be like no build zones. Obviously, like dungeon entrances, inside dungeons, towns. But I wonder what else. I wonder if like spider caves will, for example, will count as like a dungeon entrance where you can't build right outside of it. Like I'm curious how that's gonna be going, because obviously there's only like 3 spider caves as far as I know, and there may only ever be 3 spider caves on Maryland. So That's a pretty easy spot to want to put a house or an outpost or something, you know, where it's like easy farm, go back in, put your shit away, and now it's pretty fucking safe. Even with sieging, like no, I don't think anybody would siege you over some spider carcass.
Hmm.
Yeah, and late in MO1, they still had some issues with that, and like especially like the Kamuru Cave and the Greater Natterus. But then like in the last year or so of MO2, they did put a no build radius around a lot of those things, and I've never really seen like a spider cave be walled off. I'm not sure if that was even possible beforehand, but it probably was.
Wait,
You could
there's
wall up everything, and that was the problem with the first game. Is that I mean, even in Sarduka, that you had experience with, the entire jungle was walled off.
wait, they added a spider cave to Morin Kerr? Wait, are you talking about the southeast, as in the one southeast of Moki? So wait, they added a new spider cave by Morin Kerr?
A jungle
Maybe,
spider
yeah.
cave.
I don't know what Trace means by more incur.
Yeah, he said Vada, Morin Kerr, southeast, and GK. Obviously GK. Southeast must be the one southeast of Moki.
Yeah,
So the new one is it on the map? Okay. Oh, they put the spider cave in near old Fate Keep, right outside Morin Kerr. I see it on the map now. Oh shit! They actually added it. I did not know this. This is news to me.
that's pretty cool.
Okay, so we do have 4 spider caves. That's dope. Nice. Good. I like that. That's a little bit more balanced to the map, honestly. Of course, we're still missing one in the northwest, but we'll move on. Um, yeah. Does the new cave have a spider queen? Does anyone know? Well, the other 3 definitely have a spider queen. I don't know if the new one has one though.
I remember there being a few that didn't in MO1.
Well, I know GK does. Ant Highway does. The southeast does. And the new queen apparently, or the new cave does too. Apparently, yeah, they all have a spider queen. Well, Minnow Cave is gonna have its own version of a spider queen. Well, does anyone know what that was called?
Klothos Maiden Queen.
And that drops blood silk, and that was like the only source of blood silk or something, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, it drops blood silk and something else, but I don't remember what the other something else was.
Like another unique thing you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a high end either carapace or something else.
I don't remember getting any of that other stuff from it. I mean, I think it was just heavy carapace, maybe.
Look it up on Emulator.
Yeah, I definitely have the spreadsheet.
Pothos. Anthropod carapace, dense scrapite. Doesn't say blood silk on here. It's the Klothos Maiden Queen, you said?
Yeah,
It doesn't say
queen
anything about
meat,
it. It says
blood
the iron silk, not blood silk.
dense scripite, arthropod carapace. There was an egg that you got from it, but it wasn't like I don't know that it was really used for anything.
I wonder if we'll end up having to get the eggs for like dominating. For like spider queens.
You're
Uh,
right. I do believe if you had the eggs in your hand, you needed those, or I think the magneton brains were better. The black magneton brains were better for dominating.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for man, if they let those black magnetons with like high armor to like melee come in, people are gonna be fucking raging, dude. I can't wait. You're gonna have mages in your group to bring those down or something, basically. That's gonna be great. I can't wait for the salt.
I'm gonna give you guys a hint. You can't say Dread never told you anything. You have to hatch the eggs.
yeah, that's what I heard too. You got to actually hatch the eggs instead.
What do you mean?
There
Like
So
are eggs that you had to get from Sarduka. Those are the only way you could hatch. The eggs that you get from the queen were not hatchable. You had to get special hatchable eggs from the hatcher.
mhm.
what are we talking about? For spiders or what?
Talking about the Niter Queen, you have to hatch her egg and then dominate the larva
Oh, that's
like
right.
like you did in Sarduka.
Wait, it was an actual larva that turns into a spider?
Not in Sarduka, no. I'm telling you how the current system is going to work. And I'm
So,
comparing
so
it to
this
the
just
old.
confirms that you're on the goddamn test team.
No.
You
this is
fucking
from
No, no, no.
spy,
MO1.
dude.
I've heard that
This is
somewhere too.
MO1.
Henrik talked about it on the stream.
Okay. I'm just kidding. I'm watching you.
I mean, I did get all my changes, my recommended changes into the game, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you you got counter reduction in. It's probably just you.
No, actually, I don't like that one. I thought that I would, but it's not good.
Okay.
That's crazy. Someone said it was the Ratsar Hatcher or Ratsar Breeder.
It was the Hatcher, yeah. So it was a pretty tough fight. We figured out how to cheese it at one point.
You just
but
tuned into the latest channel on Twitch.
pretty big.
IGW says Driss number 1 to Shmerrick. No response to IGW.
Hey,
All right.
someone to play with.
I'm assuming he's in Driss. I don't know.
He is, but he's also in Dread, so.
Oh, okay. Same thing. He said he's ignoring. Correct. Fuck. Like, brain farted. What did you want to talk about, Smokey?
Just like, I mean, I want to talk about counter reduction and how it needs to go, but not too much to say about that. It's just unrealistic. I think that some of these things like taming, everyone's hot on taming and like the armor weight stuff right now, and in MO1 these systems were in a little bit in a different fashion, but you know if you were a full foot fighter in steel, you weren't really chasing down people, and I feel like that's what they're trying to do. And it's still the first iteration, so it's kind of tricky, but
But wasn't the movement speed overall much higher in MO1, from what I understand?
it it definitely played a bigger part. I mean, I think the movement speed is just feels different in this engine, but there's just not a bigger difference between like a Vila with max dex and a foot fighter, and the amount of stam drain. Like all these things really play into it. It's not simply just how fast you are. The fact is that so many people play a max stam Thursar or Ogmir, and Vilas just don't have the dex or the speed, or I mean the stam or the speed to overcome that in a lot of ways. Whereas in MO1, like if you were a Vila, even if you didn't have great dex or strength, then you'd still have enough stam and you could get away.
Yeah, that kind of blows my mind too, because you just kind of brought it up. I find it incredibly imbalanced. As someone who plays as like a mage more than a foot fighter for sure, like on my dex mage, I have like, I want to say like 260, 270 stam versus like a Vila or like a human even that has like 340 stam. In no shape or form will I ever outkite this person, because he will win on stam eventually, if not immediately. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I find that incredibly like imbalanced as like a mage. Like it's already extremely hard, even if I could outstam this person, to kill this person. But now, like I can't even run from them. Not because of
Yeah.
speed, because usually I have more speed, movement speed, but I'll never outstam them, which is just blows my fucking mind. I'm wearing way less gear, all this stuff, and I cannot outstam someone. And that kind of like, I mean, what do you guys think? You guys, I mean, there's like some people who just fucking hate mages, think they're OP. Shmerrick might be one of them. I actually think, now that I'm thinking about it. But like, what do you guys think about that? Should like a dex mage be able to outrun someone who's in like bone or steel or something?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it just removes that gameplay loop from the game. I think that if you want to play a Dex Mage right now, you basically have to play a hybrid and just wear low armor weight and just heal and stuff like that. And it works okay, and it's a good build, but traditional Dex mages just aren't there. So I think that if you were to play a mage, playing an Augmere with max int, like you get so much more out of that, and wearing heavier armor and stuff like that.
Honestly,
Also,
I found. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's just the augments in general. They've made them too strong.
I don't know. I like for fat mages. I like human better.
Yeah.
I think it's actually more meta to be a human fat mage than an Augmere fat mage. You can wear more armor, sure, as an Augmere fat mage, like Tumor's build or whatever. I don't see the value in it because sometimes you end up fighting on foot too. But as a human, I'm gonna have way more movement speed, and not only that, but I have actual clades that go towards my magic skills and my mana regen and stuff like that. And I'm only losing 4 intellect as a fat mage human versus a fat mage Augmere. And that 4 intellect means absolutely nothing, especially at higher int levels where every int point means less and less. Um, so I think there's some misconception about Augmere fat mages. I think everyone should definitely be playing human fat mage, in my personal opinion. And by fat mage, I mean like full on OB.
I mean, you just don't take damage as an augmere.
Yeah, it's the clay gifts really, and the mana
Yeah.
regen's not a big problem. So there's definitely some benefit, and I think for the first time, playing a fat human is viable. And if you like the clay gifts, and it works. But yeah, I mean, the
Do we
Augmere.
know? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do we know if the Augmere clay gift that like the passive like slashing and piercing reduction or whatever, does that work on horseback?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
So what if does your horse have to be still, or can your horse be moving and still get that reduction? Do we know?
the horse
Well,
doesn't get the reduction. You do though.
No, I know you do, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, can your horse be moving while you're sitting on the horse to get that reduction
Oh,
to you?
yeah, that's a good question.
so I thought the passive they had was slashing, piercing, and then they had an active that was standing still.
Right. There's two.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
talking about the passive currently,
The
but
passive
also,
You
is
don't have to
constant.
be moving. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can be moving. It's fine.
oh, then maybe I'm talking about the active then.
But that
Yeah.
is exactly my point, is that I don't understand why any class, regardless if it's supposed to be a tank or not, is going to have a constant advantage in combat. Defensive advantage.
Well, it doesn't to magic. I guess that would be the counterpoint from Starvolt, right?
Well, no class has a constant besides if they put points in Psyche. And that's why I'm saying that the Augmere, they significantly boosted the speed. I logged onto my Augmere on MO1 the other day, and I had 70 something dex. And now we're at like 85, 90-ish if you really wanted to min-max the guy. And then you have all these passive abilities, the ability to wear more armor, and active abilities that make you a god.
Yeah, they're very strong. And then you also get the the crack pipes. Like it's never been a better time.
Personally, I hate the fucking crack pipes. Like, it's good for like 1 or 2 uses, but like your reserves are fucked. If like the fight keeps going, you're fucked, basically. In my opinion, I don't know. Depends on the type of engagement, obviously. Scale, small scale versus large scale.
Just bring some hearty health food with you, and there you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can really eat that off in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's not meant to be something you use constantly. It's for your emergency use.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the crack pipes are not going to be so readily available when we get into the game. They might be rare drops from dungeons or
They
something
should
like
just be,
that.
they should just be more expensive too. Like, why are
That
they so
too,
cheap?
yeah.
Maybe like a little bit, maybe like a gold each, and then maybe like make it more reserves or something, like twice the reserves. Because I think like you can get 1 or 2 off before you lose reserves, like gray bar from full. I could be wrong, but I think that's what I remember. But yeah,
It's not just the crack pipe though. I mean, you have literally double the amount of potion units, and if you stack that with potion utilization, I don't see how you die as an Augmere. I really don't.
I think you only need a potion to get to full health on a Nug, don't you? Like a good potion, like
Well,
a
Yeah, for sure.
indirect healing. Doesn't that get you full?
Yeah, 10 potion units right now in the game with the Argus Sponge added and some other stuff. You have 100 health healed, and if you have potion utilization, you can use potions obviously more frequently. But yes, 200 health can be recovered with a single potion used from 15 or whatever.
Balance, right?
Huh?
That's balanced.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, I don't understand how people can make the argument that the Augmirs are not the best or not one of the best races in the game, considering how much utility they have and what is their damage potential.
Ursars get 40 HP a minute though, question mark, less stam drain, crazy damage bonus. 40 HP a minute.
You have to hit
Oh,
something.
wait, is it the 6 health per second or per 10 second now? Is that what he's talking about?
He
Oh,
might
pay
be
attention.
talking about the boost of passive regen, because I think passive regen
Yeah.
is like 6 or 9 HP every.
Well, it was
Some-
3.33 before, and I think they doubled it this patch. I haven't really played, so I
Right.
don't fucking know. So now it should be 6.66 is I think what he's talking about, if they actually doubled it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a good change of Thursars. I thought they're in a pretty bad spot, because I mean, like, Thursars are awesome for damage, but it's not hard to parry someone.
Yeah, I think that was more of a PvE buff than anything, or like
Yeah,
a very
exactly.
like 1v1 small scale buff. I don't think that really affects like large scale too much.
Yeah, 100%. And especially if you're not paying attention during the fight, right? And some fat mage rolls up on you when you have your 10% physical reduction on, you get hit for 90. So I mean, like, it is what it is, right?
I don't know.
Honestly, there just seems
I
to be
was
a lot
really
of
trying to get
complaining that actually
sorry.
understand things you guys are complaining about. I think we're pretty knowledgeable on what we're talking about. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about specifically, Joe's. Go ahead. Sorry, Smoke.
Oh, I was saying that I still really want to have a Thursar, and I worked my characters around so I could get a Thursar because the damage bonus is really strong and the race is very strong as a fighter. So it's not like the Augmirs just completely dwarf everyone else. They have a lot of defensive capabilities, but having Thursars on your team isn't like a detriment. I feel like it can be a bonus, and I feel like everything does have their place. But if you're gonna play a mage or if you're gonna play a frontline fighter, Augmir is just so tanky and it's hard to beat. But I still feel like there's value to the other races.
I will say that like I rolled a Thursar recently before they got buffed this last patch. Simply to make gold because I don't think there's an easier way to solo farm in this game than playing a Thursar currently. And this was before the buff too, because lifesteal on a Thursar with its damage bonus is just it's crazy good. Like you could solo like any boss, well besides like a troll or maybe a Spider Queen, but like the Alchemist, Bowman, Necromancer, like the mini bosses, whatever they're called. Like it's incredibly easy, and even with bow, extremely good bow damage and all that stuff because you have high strength. Um, I don't know. I wouldn't say Thursars are like a PVE class by any means, but they are very easy to use in PVE. Um, I don't know if I could say that about Augmirs because of the serve debuff that you get with crack pipes, but again, if you bring food, maybe that's just completely negated.
I mean, you could also use passive regen on an Augmir and potions.
Yeah. I don't know if it's worth to use potions in PVE because it's kind of like if you're if you're using it for PVE and you're trying to make gold, it's kind of counterproductive making gold, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, sure. I mean, would we all agree at this point that Velas are probably the most underpowered race?
I would say in the Clade department, yeah. The Clades.
In what way are they not?
I think they made some good changes this patch. Like, I really like the changes they made this patch. But just like, for example, the bow Clade, I really think that should be.
Smokey, you are on stream. Just be careful what you should. But keep
I
going.
know, yeah, I've got it. I've done this before.
So I was gonna say, like, the bow strength one, I think that should be just merged into one. They should buff the bow training one that boosts archery skill to like maybe like 10 points for all the archery abilities. And then maybe give them some more weak spot chance. And the crafting stuff just isn't there for the
Well, I don't know why bows are related to strength at all, honestly. I think that should be like a dex thing, personally, for balance. So you don't have foot fighters that don't have dex or something that can perfectly use a bow or whatever. Or maybe like the less dex
I
you
can
have, the more
see it.
sway you have or something.
Yeah, I could see it affecting your accuracy.
Hmm.
Um,
The dex bonus though to weak spot is, I think, pretty low though. That could be improved.
yeah, I don't really hear people running weak spot builds. I know they definitely did in MO1, at least at a certain point in MO1 when I played. Um, I don't really hear people running them in MO2.
I think that if you change how you look at your Vila, well, everyone wants to run high dex, right? But if you run like 92 dex on your Vila, you still run 433, and then you still have all your speed claves, but you also have like 350 stamina, and you have max strength. It's like 91 strength, but you can swing a steel axe and hit people for 60. And so, that's how I intend to play my Vila. And in that situation, they become pretty powerful.
I don't know. I think when you compare it to everything else, I think the only thing Velas are currently good for that I've seen is mage killing. Like to catch mages and kill them. Like I think well pretty much anything can outstam a mage, but like Velas are just the best at it. What they're using that I've seen.
Hmm. Yeah, you're right. It's backline jumper, in and out quick. At least that's how it was supposed to be. At least. I still think they're really good. Like this character that I'm on right now is 127 dex Vila. So I'm gonna try out how effective this is.
Let me look at your character. 783 strength, lean, 6 and hybrid.
Oh, that'll be converted into Constitution. I'll have
Oh,
like
okay.
60 intelligence or whatever.
Well,
Just
still
mainly.
hybrid. I mean, if it's not going to psych at that point, you're
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be healing
exactly.
at some level.
Hmm. The health is really concerning. That's they made some really good changes this patch with the weight system not be contributing as much health. I think that's really good. But as you guys were talking about with the stamina of the Vilas, I just think it's too low compared to the other races. You can just have so much more constitution and still get run down.
You have endurance right now?
Yeah,
Or...
yeah, I do, but I don't have. I'm in Haven right now, so I don't have any of the skills.
I don't know. I really like my Elverin that I made that has 92 dex. I mean, I've got 351 stam. I've got 180 health, and I can hit pretty hard. I mean, it's only 8% damage bonus, but I mean, I can beat people in duels.
Wait, someone said at least it's not Bratwire's 115. Does he actually have a build with 100? Does that even work? Like, what are you getting in replace of that?
It's not good. I can tell you that.
I used to run like a 140 like skinny build back in the day, and I would just get popped. And
Yeah.
I usually just had that character run to like the enemy backline, just corrupt spam everybody. But that was like all I was good for because it did like no fucking damage. Like a skinny skeletal, can't remember what, super light test. Let's talk weight balance. Are you talking about the stam penalty? Like I said, I think they should make Steelers by default have the most stam speed than any other race. However, if they implement that, then Starville also needs to add hitch slows, where if you're running and you get hit by an arrow or sword, you are slowed for about 1 second. Every game has it, and it's realistic. What do you guys think about that? The is it sprint break or whatever?
We had that in the first game.
You think it should come back? That's it.
Yeah, I think something like that would be pretty nice.
No. I think if they just put it in right now, we'd have some problems because people are already getting sticky back so easily. Like Pockets is saying, they really need to rework the whole speed system, and then they can put that in, and then
Yeah,
it'd
I
be
think
great.
the gap between decks isn't big enough.
Yeah, I agree with you guys on that. I
Like
don't.
420 versus 433, it doesn't. There's not much of a difference currently.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like anyway.
You can't disengage a fight if you're fast. At least not easily.
What kind of percentage do you think needs to be added to movement speed for the like, per dex point? Like a 10% overall buff or less, more? I guess think.
I think that a
Your own
full
opinion.
speed Vila should be at least 15% faster than like a Ogmir or a Thursar. I don't know that I know the the math for the dex numbers, but you know, it should be more closer to that instead of like 4 or 5% faster than it is right now.
Well, the problem right now, at least for the dex scaling, is that you have a dead zone from 25 to I think 50, in which a change in dex does absolutely nothing to your movement speed. So if they linearize the entire range, so you can't have like Augs with 25 dex moving as fast as someone with say 50 dex, I think that'll change a lot. But the top end, I mean, I'm running at like what 500 and something speed right now. Let's see, I'll tell you in a second. 507 speed. I don't really think that needs to be increased.
Well, why not? That's what Clades do.
Yeah, right. It is with Clades, but I mean, I'm moving as fast as a horse in second gear right now.
Well, I mean, if we're going back to the realism argument, like we have magic. Like, I don't think the game should be solely based around realism. I mean, I think the clades are a very unique thing, and if you want, I mean, they would just increase the duration on your clades or something. But like, speed currently at top end fix, I don't think it's working as intended or shouldn't be because speed gap is definitely bad for
Yeah,
like a Vila like, versus like a fucking human or something.
that really is where the issue lies because they could make Alvarins faster, but then the Clade is OP or you know it right now they
But it's not
basically have it
OP.
balanced. It's
Not
not
OP.
right now,
You just pull out a bow, you beam them in the back. You know, I mean, like that. I'm oversimplifying it, of course, but like, there's ways to deal with it.
but
Like,
they've just lowered the natural speed of the Vilas because they know they have that Clade. They didn't have that Clade, then they would be able to make them naturally faster.
or yeah,
You
just
know?
make Dex mean more as far as movement speed, and then just nerf the potency of the Clade if that's
Yeah,
the reason that they're nerfing this movement speed in general. I mean, I feel like it's a pretty simple fix. Um, and I don't. I mean, speed should be king in some way, right? Like if I can pick my fights just like a mounted can when it's foot fighter versus foot fighter, that has value. But if the guy hits for like 150% of what I hit, that has value. But you have like these things go hand in hand. Like right now, it just pretty much matters who can hit harder. Like you can't really disengage from fights all that well, not including things like water or whatever.
yeah. I think it was actually pretty well balanced in MO1. You know, if you were a fast Vila, you know, you could disengage and be pretty much all right. You know, people weren't gonna try and chase you.
Because buffing the Vila movement speed Clade more doesn't fix the problem. It fixes one of the sub problems of the problem, right? Because like if I'm a human and I spec into all decks, I should be able to beat a Thursar in a foot race because that's what my build is intended to do. So it doesn't actually fix the problem. That just makes Vilas a little bit better. And the problem isn't inherently with Vilas, it's just that Vilas are supposed to be very quick race. Which race gets the most dexterity points? People say the Alvarin clades are bad. We'll change out the active clade for something more meaningful. I mean, if fucking Ogmirs have a passive that reduces damage reduction because they're supposed to be a tank, why don't Alvarins have a passive that increases their movement speed? Why is it only actives? You know what I mean? For example.
Oh shit! Oh no! Oh
Merrick,
no!
you okay? Down, dude.
My
Yeah, I'm
Campodon
fully.
just died.
Oh, right, yeah, they do. I'm sorry. Well, it doesn't seem like enough at this point.
My Campadon just died because I left it on the training dummies.
Oh, you went to duel and it went gray or whatever?
Fuck.
What do you think, Lumetta?
What do you guys think of? I've heard good and bad responses from this, but with your armor too, some movement penalties or even increases with the types of armor you wear. Maybe revert the stamina penalties and instead put like movement penalties in instead. You know, your heavy ass steel armor. I don't think you should run as fast as like a naked Vila as well. You know. That's something when I first started playing the game, a lot of us were trying out different builds, and I was a 130 Vila in Dex, and the steel guys in Medulla could still outrun me pretty much, and it didn't, you know, if you're going a build that's based on speed and turning around and shooting someone with a bow, you shouldn't really have a guy in full steel right behind your back.
I think that the we were talking about this a long time ago, is that they should just make the stam drain a little more dependent on your character's weight and size, and so that Vilas naturally regen stam a little faster than the big boys, or they use less stamina or something like that. Then they don't have to go and do all these changes to the armor weight to balance it out. I mean, I guess it's a different kind of way to balance it, but I think that it doesn't really solve the fundamental problem.
So currently, I think people are upset with the stand penalty from armors. You guys are saying it should have a flat out speed reduction also?
Well, no, not necessarily. It's really just the stam of these big fighters and the speed not making a difference. It all plays into it. The Vila should be a little bit faster. They should also use a little bit less stam, and then the Thursars and the Ogmirs should probably use a little bit more stam. And then as long as it's a very minor change, it basically fixes the system. If you ask me, it could done right.
Well, like you're saying maybe have different stats affect other stats minorly. Like maybe if you have a lot of strength, right, or constitution, you're this big buff fat guy. Maybe it should penalize dex a little bit or something like that too, in a sense where it's not heavy on it, but
I mean, like right now, it's just very close. Like if you're a full dex mage and you spend your entire time running away and using your clades, you basically can only just stay at the range of getting not killed. Like they'll eventually chase you down over a long period of time, but for a little while you can stay ahead of them. So like the numbers aren't too dramatically off. So they just need a little bit of a tweak here and there to make it so, yeah, if you play a full dex mage with no strength, you can stay away indefinitely. Like that's the point where they need to get it to. It doesn't need to be any more than that. They just need to be able to stay away indefinitely. And right now with the armor changes, if someone's in full steel armor, that's happening now. But I don't think it's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much to say on the stand penalty. I haven't really tested it.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
No.
I don't think we should go back to being slow. That was really
Yeah.
bad in the first game.
It's way better when we're all a little bit faster. But it's just these certain situations that they need to test and make work, and then make sure everything else works pretty well at the same time.
Does chat have anything they would like to bring up for discussion? Topics?
I would say, didn't someone talk about the horses or something about that?
About them.
I'm not
Talking
for
about-
sure.
What they like changed the horse like stats patch? What you're talking about?
Someone
Yeah, I mean, they made the desert horses like they changed how all the horses work compared to the last patch, and I still don't know what the full vision is. I mean, if you consider all the stats from the horses, we don't know if it's just the dexterity of the horse that's controlling its speed, or if it's the race of the horse. Because in MO1, you could breed all the dex you wanted into your horse, and it would go as fast as any other horse with that same amount of dex.
Are you talking about like you don't know if like 10 decks on each horse means the same thing?
Right, yeah. Like desert horses may just run faster in general now, and they may intend to keep that as like a racial bonus to that horse type.
Well, yeah, we're not gonna be able to know that until they show us the stats of horses.
Well, right now, there's no point to have any other horse besides the desert horse.
Yeah.
Well, before it was Jotun, so did Jotun? I heard Jotun speed get like super nerfed or something.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, what's the stam on a desert horse?
It's
1,000.
1,000, yeah, but it runs 10% faster than every other horse, and so
It also
that-
runs longer.
yeah.
Yeah,
uses
15
less
seconds
stam.
more.
Another buff to Vada, nice. Like it. Smokey's happy.
I had a bunch of desert horses before the patch, and I went and used them all up, and now I'm sad.
I mean,
And then I logged in, and someone killed my horse as I was loading in. I have one
If you-
left.
if you take out like the GK stuff, I mean, Vada is basically the center of the map at this point. Like everything is around Vada in a sense. Like it's basically the center. You would think like Bhakti, but like you don't even really have to leave the Meduli Vada area to get like 90% of the stuff you want in this game.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I keep thinking about trying to play elsewhere. I'm all like, but I mean, I got desert horses, we got Calx, we got Granum, we got Sabura. Good time. But they say they're working on that. They're gonna redistribute the materials again, so that will see.
Well, I don't think they said like you made it sound like a fresh start. Like they're just gonna add shit. I don't even know if they're removing shit.
They may. I mean, they say they're working on it. They removed the Sabura from Morin.
Yeah, but his reasoning for putting it where it is now was based on lore. Like, is that a sound judgment to go off of? Like, well, if we can make it fit in the lore, we'll put it in. Don't worry, guys. Like, that's not a good game design to go off of.
Yeah, the civilization that gave us the katana doesn't know how to make steel.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
it's. The hell was that? Oh, did you get a title?
Clade. You get noises now when you clade up.
Oh. You sure you didn't get a title?
It's the same noise.
Oh, okay. Real the reason to distribute the population for server capacity. Yeah, I agree. I just think that there's like far superior areas to others currently. Like, I was talking about this in Discord, but like I don't, personally, this is all personal opinions, but I don't understand why there's no stable foremost in jungle camp. But also, like, there's no magic vendor, and maybe I could see a trade broker. Not really big on the trade broker there, but like, it's very far from everything else. So I think making it a livable town, again, distributes the population. Some people see that as a pro, some people see that as a con, but like just giving the map like more reasons to explore rather than just like living in one place, traveling here for this and then going right back home. It's almost like having quests in a sense, which is what they wanted to avoid. I'd rather have people live everywhere and have more regional conflicts than just we all live here, but we go here for X, come back and we all fucking kumbaya together, whatever. Because typically, if you live in a town with a guild, you're probably friendly with them. Sometimes it's not the case, of course, but usually that's the case. And when you're friendly with someone for long enough, you end up fighting the same people. You all join the same alliance. It's all very Care Bear, and I love it. Not really.
I'd hope TC maybe building some towns outside the major cities would help with that too. Do they plan on adding like butcher tables and like crafting tables and stations, or
Yeah.
just houses?
No, they'll have stations, whether it's
I
inside or
mean-
outside your house. Who knows? But
I mean, eventually, but the TC that's coming out now, there's just houses, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's no way to know.
Yeah, I mean, we have houses
Well-
confirmed. That's about it.
Well, housing doesn't mean TC, but he's talking about housing.
Yeah, I mean, just
TC
all
is a separate thing.
yeah, just all together, like the city building and empire.
At the very least, you can expect storage, I think. And maybe you
Yeah,
can
I
place
mean,
a chair where you want, whatever that means to you.
I'm pretty sure he said in stream that he was talking about the infinite bank slots. He's being generous with like the bags in your bank already, and then you'll have houses that you can store stuff in. So hopefully, when that comes out, you can at least store whatever in your house, or there'd be not really no reason to have a house at that point.
I hope they let you build banks like right away, because I mean, I never really kept anything too important in my house because I know it could just be blown up. If you can put a bank on the node, then you've got actually somewhere safe.
I'm wondering how they'll do like the whole door, like opening. Like, did he say if we'll have to make keys or?
Yeah, you did before, and he said you were gonna be doing that again.
As in, if you die, you drop your key, or how does that work?
So right, I mean, you could generate a key anytime you walked up to your house, and then you could use that key to lock the door. You don't have to lock your door, and locking your door isn't really super important except for keeping people from coming in and killing you. They couldn't like open your chest. Your chest would require keys, so you could get chests that didn't require keys as well. You could also just get chests that are only openable by the owner. So there's a bit of variety there, but if you built your house right, you really never even needed to make a key, but you just delete it as soon as you're done with it, and then nobody's getting into your stuff.
I would love for them to add like a guild bank system with proper permissions. So not just like an open guild bank anyone can deposit and withdraw at any time, but like, well, one game I knew that did it for sure was WoW. Like you had different ranks in your guild, and you could set the permissions for each rank or what tab of the guild bank they could access, or whether they could even see it at all and stuff like that. I would love to see that in the game.
That for sure would be something really nice. A lot of my guys even now are wanting me to make like spreadsheets and whatnot and storing stuff in my bank, and it's like it'd be nice to have like a guild warehouse or a guild storage just to store extra gear, extra resources just to give out to people.
Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of a headache now trying to do any sort of like guild bank system within a guild, especially the bigger the guild you are and more people are donating. You know what I mean? It's a full-time job at that point. So it would be really nice if they could just have it within the game. I think pretty much everyone stands to benefit, really. But it would have to come with like a guild like enhancement like patch with like permissions and stuff, because currently the guild system is terrible. It's just like the first iteration hasn't been updated really.
Yeah, I mean, we made it work. There was there were ways to make that work, but it would be super nice to actually have a real bank. I think we need to talk more about the resource distribution, because if every town has all the resources around it that you need, there's going to be a lot of people who don't want to move out of the town. and it also lessens the value of building a house out somewhere near resources. But I feel like I feel like everyone's gonna want to have a base outside of the town. They're not gonna want to play in towns, and the only reason you need to go to a town is to put stuff on the market broker or sell stuff that you can't sell to your own vendors, like it was in MO1. And that worked out pretty good. And I feel if the population was higher, then a lot of people would have seen it as a good thing because it creates these traffic loops where you go to your base, you do all your mining and stuff, and then now you've got to transport it back to these cities, and you know that puts a lot more people on the map moving stuff around all the time. It creates content. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're kind of heading in the right direction with regards to that. Like at first, like everything was in the Northeast. Now we're kind of seeing a lot of stuff in the West. I think jungle obviously still needs a lot of love in general because of one of how big it is in comparison to the map and how little is in it currently. But obviously, they just recently added some stuff to it, which is good. But I definitely still think it needs a lot more love. Just thinking of like what's in the map and how north heavy it was, and now it's kind of like west heavy, but that west doesn't really include the jungle much besides Campodons. So yeah, I mean, I think Seder Temple definitely needs like something. If Seder Temple had like a good buff to like whatever loot might drop in there, and then like a lot more like 3 to 4 more mob spawns specific to the jungle, like terror birds, maybe crabs,
Jaguars.
jaguars, panthers.
Yep.
And I don't really know what else is in the jungle. I mean, wasn't there historically bears in the jungle too? Like a lot of bears, even.
There were some bears. It was mostly on the jungle ramp. I don't really remember seeing them all over the place though.
Yeah, I would agree. I remember seeing them near the entrance, like inside the jungle near the entrance, but then that was kind of they used just to run into them on accident and just get fucking mauled.
I don't know. I feel like that a lot of the reasons of building a palisade out near, like out in the wild, was to boost your efficiency in gathering. If you've got to run out of Vada, over the hill, over to the calcs, mine the calcs, and then ride it all the way back, like those nodes are going to be depleted pretty often, and it's very time consuming. And over
Well, how can it? Wait, I'm confused. How can it be both time consuming and they're depleted all the time?
it's time consuming for you to run out there to hit these nodes and then run it all the way back, but it's going to be depleted because if there are people that want to live out of that town, there's only so many nodes. Like it's going to be a pretty hot spot. So now you're competing with other people for the resource, and you're also spending a lot of time to get it, and you're not getting any bonuses from having any mines. Like, that's why we built palisades for the most part, was because it was on a good resource that we wanted to farm, and we don't want to be running all over the place. You want to walk with your slow ass miner, hit the nodes, and then bank them, and just keep that cycle up.
I can almost guarantee like those calc nodes aren't going to be as depleted as you think, specifically to that Vada point you're mentioning, because that's going to be such highly controlled area by both Meduli and Vada. Because if I'm not mistaken, like that Sausage Lake area, that's the closest source of calcs, so that's going to be controlled by like specific guilds, right? It's
Right. Well,
like,
I mean, ideally, we would want to put a house there, and we probably would.
even if
So,
you put a house there, if you're not associated with these guilds, you're not getting anything done.
the guild would be doing that, yeah. And if somebody else put a house there, then the guild's probably going to shut it down. So, like, those nodes will probably just be under our control. It was just kind of the example, TC and guild control aside, like, if you are playing out of a town and you've got to run somewhere to mine and then bring it back, it's not fun. It gets old real quick.
Yeah,
and-
I'm not talking
and
about
that's why
all
he wanted to
sausage.
build the
Like
house. Yeah.
talking about the part of sausage like facing like Medulla Vada specifically. So yeah, they could go further out to more calx nodes, sure. But then again, I don't know. I don't see Sausage Lake being a hotspot for calx because the jungle is full of calx for one,
Right. No,
and there's
that's
also a
kinda
lot
where
of
I was
other
going
rivers you
with
can go
that,
to.
Yeah. It's like,
No, someone in the chat was talking about. Sorry, I wasn't even
oh yeah.
directing that at you per se. I was just responding.
I think step one for resource gathering is to stop it from being done in towns.
I mean, they already kind of did that, didn't they? Didn't they nerf the shit out of it?
They
already?
did,
You
but
can't even mine in towns, and so you do have to go outside a bit.
yeah, you can still mine.
So, like-
You AFK your character there all day, you can still mine. It should be 0. You got New World Care Bear game doesn't even allow that shit. You got Mortals allowing it. It's crazy.
Does that apply to like woodcutting too? I don't even know.
Yeah. No, woodcutting doesn't even work. You can
What way?
woodcut in town all day. It's not affected.
Oh, it wasn't nerfed, is what you're saying.
Well, no, mining it was, but woodcutting's not. But what I'm advocating for is none, absolutely 0 gathering in towns.
I don't know about woodcutting because there's no trees in Fabrinum, so.
Well, there's
I don't
trees.
know how valuable wood is really to matter at the.
Wait, are you? Well, hold on. Are you advocating for taking away my goddamn cabbages in town? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Also.
No, hear me out.
Okay, keep my goddamn cabbages, dude. Don't touch my cab. All right, go ahead. What?
Cutting wood.
I don't think you should have that.
Fuck
Yeah,
you.
cutting wood and mining in town should be not allowed. How are you going to get people to go outside of town when they could just sit in town all day
Well,
and just
I mean,
gather
in
thousands
MO1,
of stacks?
there was no penalty, and you still wanted to build a palisade out in the wild if you wanted to make a meaningful amount of materials.
There was a penalty in the first game.
No, there wasn't.
Absolutely was.
Where?
In all towns, there was a penalty for gathering.
Absolutely not. I mean,
What
maybe it was
penalty are
early
you
on.
referring to specifically? Like, what was the penalty?
It was reduction in gather rate, or gather quantity per hit.
What year are you talking about? Maybe specifically. MO1 history.
Before
know.
elementalism came out.
I never remember that ever being a thing. Anytime I ever played, all the way until the end of the game, I was still hitting that Granum Rock and it didn't have garden.
Maybe that was like a specific node.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But like that. Regardless, I don't agree with sitting in town gathering endless amounts of resources.
Now, when you
Yeah.
say that, Shmerrick, to clarify, you're talking about blue towns with guards.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
yeah, where there is safety with guards. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's what someone in town was asking because he said GK doesn't seem to be affected, but I think he was referring to blue towns, so I wanted to clarify. And blue towns, I mean, is a guard with a town with guards.
Yeah.
But my point is, even with unrestricted gathering in towns, people still wanted to build a palisade out by the materials that they do want to farm because it was so much faster.
Yeah, I don't think
and there were
anyone's.
so many more nodes. Yeah.
I don't think anyone's arguing that. I think he's just
Yeah.
saying it's easier.
Yeah.
Like, and it. Yeah. I mean, I'm inclined to agree with Shmerrick. To be honest with you, I don't think you should be able to gather in towns, besides cabbages.
Yeah. Because what people used to do, and like this, they did this the first game. You'd have a bunch of accounts, right? And you would just have them sit at a node while you're at work or whatever, and then you come back and then you run around to all the accounts and you gather up your, 10 stacks of whatever. So.
Well, I don't know how most towns operate currently, but that wouldn't happen in Fab. You would get ganked.
Well, of course, yeah, because you got
not a-
guts,
Yeah, but I don't think you could do that in Medulla either, honestly. If people were catching on that you were doing these things, people would probably start to gank you, but I don't know. I think the whole rep system needs to rework and be more penalizing or
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Where do you guys stand on like stat loss for reds? Like murders?
I don't want stat loss, but I'm heavily biased.
You're a fucking murderer, that's why.
I feel like anything bad that happens to your character, nobody wants it. I think that we need it in some cases. I don't know that it
In
matters
what cases?
too greatly. I mean, just like, dissuading people from doing certain stuff or being a murderer. That's like the cost of being a murderer. You can die and lose your stats. Like,
Well, I don't think it's that the cost of being a murderer. It's at the cost of dying as a murderer.
Right.
and not
right.
going to like a guild priest or something.
Or
Because
the
I don't think
red-
you got stat loss from guild priest, correct?
Mm-mm.
Or your own
I
dudes.
yeah, I think the stat loss is kind of a weird like penalty though. I think Henrik he was talking about like with religion and stuff coming out, and there's going to be other penalties besides that stuff maybe, but losing stats just seems kind of a weird penalty for going red.
I think stat loss would be okay if they had something beyond a red priest near a town. Like maybe there's like black priest or a red priest that's not near a town wouldn't give you any stat loss. So you could go out to the middle of nowhere and go to this priest, but then you're gonna have to make this trek back to wherever you usually play or whatever. You know what I mean? And sure, people will put their outposts there and take advantage of that if they don't have like guild priests for some reason. But like I think there should be certain types of priests that don't give stat loss. I think just the red priest directly outside of a town maybe should give stat loss. I think that would be a fair compromise in those cases. But that's just me. I don't know. I mean, how bad was stat loss? Like was it totally random? Like what you lost stat wise?
Uh, I don't actually remember the values of it, but it was pretty significant. The thing is that if you did die, people could punch you up pretty quickly to get your stats back. It wasn't like a huge detriment. It just put you out of the fight like immediately for a little bit until you just you got
But
around to doing that.
it wasn't your skills, it was your attributes.
Just your
Attributes.
attribute points, yeah.
Okay, so stats,
But
attributes. Just to
I think that the system just got reworked because we're intended to only have one character. Before, when you could have a red character and it was intended, then if you did run around and be a murderer, then it was fine because that wasn't your only character to play. You could live outside of a town and have somebody else bring you your stuff. Like you could get around it, and it was like it was a decent penalty. I don't
Yeah,
think
but
anybody was too upset.
I don't agree with that logic that the game wasn't intended to be played as a red character. Because what you're saying is
Yeah.
like it's okay to be a red character because you have a blue character, but the game was
Right.
intended to play as either, not just one or the other. But beyond that, I don't think we should have one character regardless. So I think we should push for features that allow you to have more than one character because one character is not enough. Um,
From Antheus, he wants stat loss back.
from Antheus, the reddest of the red, basically pink. He wants that
I'm
loss
okay with
confirmed.
it. I don't think it was like really that harmful. I think it was a decent mechanic.
I don't think it fixes or solves or resolves, whatever you want to say, the underlying problem.
No, the only thing it it solves, it doesn't really solve anything. It just makes it harder to be a red.
Well, to
Right.
be a red and dying.
Well,
And
I think it stops the continuous murdering of people, which allows people to play the game in a different way more. Right? Like if you're a guy who doesn't PvP, but you're constantly getting killed and you manage to maybe kill this group or whatever people like murderers, like a bunch of Shmerricks or whatever, and then you have more time now because you have to go spend time doing something else other than pure murder, right? Aside from like farming your gear and stuff. So I think that's kind of the value that it adds. I don't know if it's a perfect system again, but I think that my compromise was to add a red priest, whether it's the same type or a different. It just as long as it's far away from a town where the most of the community will probably end up living in one town or another, then I think it would be decent. I don't know if they had that other than guild priest in the MO1, but
I like that towns right now have value, and I hope that they stay that way.
towns will
And-
always have value because it's the only safe place to have loot at the end of the day. Like 100% safe at least.
Yeah, I mean, I would like towns though
Yeah.
to be safe from ganking. Like if you say steal from someone or kill someone in town, I don't think you should just be able to resurrect and just keep ganking people, keep inside of
yeah.
town. It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Well, that also comes into play with like TC and if we'll have blacklisting and turning off guards and stuff. Like we don't know what
Yeah.
will be in at the end of the day. So maybe that system gets fixed because like the guild controlling it wants to keep the town clean of people who do that stuff. So that could end up fixing itself. Who knows? We'll see. Again, it's kind of hard to talk about that stuff like TC in general because we just don't know. And even if we did know, it could end up changing.
Yeah.
Drastically. So
I mean, what all do we really need to know, though? We're gonna have a house. We're gonna be able to resurrect there, farm our materials, play out of there. You could be red. You could have no rep, and all the cities.
Do we know that though? Do we know that we'll have a guild, our own priest at any house, or is that only keep related?
No
I
one knows
mean,
anything about that stuff. It's all speculation.
I guess not, but I feel like it would be like really lame to not have a priest at your house. Like, I don't think anyone would want to have that.
Imagine being dead and just seeing 100 fucking red lights though. How annoying and how
Well, no,
bad
you
on
don't
your
feel
system
it,
would that
but
be?
you would choose a different kind of priest. You'd have like an allied priest, and you don't see the beams from those.
Oh, did you say allied? Ugh. I'm just kidding. That's just weird. I thought you said guild at first, and then I realized you said allied. Man, shit. I want to ask Shmerrick a question. You can decline to answer if you want. Does Dreadlords have any official allies? I'm just curious.
Uh,
You plead the fifth. It's fine. I totally get it.
I don't know, to be honest.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
I'm sure
Wait, so okay, I'm confused. Is Killox running the guild, or is it just a meme that he's not running the guild? I'm
Lux is the
confused.
leader of the guild, and so is Antheus.
But is he like active in politics, or he's just not playing at all in any fashion?
I mean, most of Droid is playing New World right now. And
okay, well, before New World, like, where was he at? Like, was he active in any sense, or no?
Well, yeah, I mean, he has a full-time job, and his computer was broken for a while.
Right, but you could still talk to people, like other guilds and stuff. Make plans, etc.
Well, see, that's the thing. Is like, I don't want to speak for the guild out of turn, but a lot of our members don't really want to invest a whole lot of time in something they know it's going to just disappear. So.
What, you talking about the whole game? Like, you mean it's gonna flop?
No, I'm talking about the fact that it's going to wipe. So there isn't a whole lot of investment in wanting, like they like I said, they enjoy group PvP and they enjoy fighting, but they don't want to just like grind meaninglessly to fight something that's just gonna just poof.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. Like, I'm playing something else right now. I'm having fun doing it, and I don't want to burn myself out. I've been playing since October of last year. Supposed to release in December. Supposed to release in like March, April. Supposed to release whatever the fuck 2 other times. Like, I'm just chilling and playing another game. Whatever happens, happens. I still have fucking Mortal at the end of the day, but I've been playing for a year now. Like, I'm playing something else. It's fine. And I think a lot of guilds are probably in the same boat. Have been probably a few times. Have probably taken several breaks. Whatever. Not saying all guilds are. I mean, I'm sure there's very active guilds in the game currently. Smokey, Moon, very active. High tier guild. I was just curious because he brought up, like, he said allied priest, and maybe just I'm thinking back to the days when I was in an alliance. Awesome people, everybody was great, but the alliance system in itself, like the fact that everyone thinks they need to have alliances, is absolutely disgusting, and it makes me cringe to think I was ever part of alliance. Not because of the people in it, but the thing itself. Like, if this game had no alliances and that was the common mindset to not have an alliance, this game would be so amazing, like so much better. But I was just curious if Dreadlords had alliance. It made me think about it.
I mean, the natural tendency is going to be alliance. I mean, Legion, perfect example. I know R5's not here, but they allied with Integrity and they allied with Draco Silvum, I think. I just don't really understand it because all of those guilds are large. So they've made this, and Kodo's is guilty of this as well. It's like, I don't get why these guilds make such huge partnerships when there just isn't the player base for them to fight. It's like, I was watching Vitting's stream, right? He just goes around seal clubbing random people with like 10 dudes. I just don't really understand it.
Well, I think there's more to it than just playing for fun, right?
Natural progression. If you want to be dominant, you say, okay, yeah, you get everybody you can.
But are you actually dominant if you ally with this many people? I guess is another question. You know what I mean?
I mean, you are in a sense, but the thing is like, it's like if one corporation took over the whole planet, it would almost like implode. It's kind of like when RPK, like, just kind of grew to critical mass at the end of MO1. It ended up splitting because people can become complacent. People want more control. Somebody else is going to rise up. So people are going to stop playing.
But you could argue the game was already dead when they got to that point, maybe because they got to that point. So is that something you want to see happen to MO2 as well?
No, but I feel like those things naturally work themselves out.
They don't naturally. These are active decisions that
yeah.
people make. They're,
Well, I
they're
mean-
not just like, oh my god, like guys, we're in the same town. We should totally ally, make all these grandiose plans, have all these keeps. You're gonna be here, I'm gonna be there. You know, let's all go against all these other. It's like no, these are active decisions you're making. This is nothing natural. It takes a lot of work
It's
too. I'm not saying it's
natural
easy,
for
but
someone to get upset and then things change.
I mean, like even now, didn't Coda just have a split with those Valhalla guys leaving? They took a couple of the core players.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I tend to ignore everything Coda does.
I know Valhalla has a lot of people though. Don't they have like 15 active or something? I heard. Hmm.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that was a big split. They split up a little bit there too, and then yeah, you get so big of a guild here soon, and some of these bigger guilds split, and they're naturally usually enemies at that point. But
Yeah, my guild split. And the Team Rocket, they broke off and made Team Rocket. And then I had a couple other people leave. Like one went to Kodo, one went to El Cartel at the time. Why are any alliances formed? Question mark. I think alliances are formed out of insecurity, to be honest. If you're gonna get all the way down to it, they're not confident in the fact that they can do X goal, so they reach out and make alliances. I don't think you're confident if you're making alliances, right? Like, I don't know if that could be argued.
well, I
Like-
mean, say you're a bigger clan, right? You make all these enemies, and then all these enemies ally up against you to beat you up. Then you need allies to help defend against them, and it's just a big snowball down the hill.
I don't think you need to. You could change the way you play.
I don't know. There it gets to a point. Like I wasn't playing towards the end of MO, but some of the guys in Dread were saying that they eventually had the entire server allied against them, and they just went over to GK to just kill them.
See, this is kind of where we dive into like what's real and what's fake news. I'm not saying that's fake news, and I don't mean you to take it that way, Shmerrick. But I'm just saying it's like it kind of becomes word of mouth because like Lumetta asked like, "Oh, did Valhalla split from Kodo?" You're gonna have a guy in the chat from Kodo be like, "Oh no, it was amicable," or "We kicked them out," or it's like the information could be real, it could be false. Like we can't know, but at the end of the day, like I think if to answer Lumetta's question, like if you get a bunch of people that ally against you and like are dunking your brain out, then there's always another way to play this game because there is many ways to play this game. You could easily just rat the fuck out of the whole fucking criminal system in the first place and just live out of a guard zone, follow their guys out of town, kill them there. You know what I mean? Like there's ways to get around like a mass clumping. I think usually when a bunch of guilds ally against you, it's usually because in some way you were probably being toxic in their perspective, right? Like I don't think people go out of their way to grief people on a large scale like that unless you're being toxic. I'm not saying that happened to anyone in here. I'm just saying in a general sense. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to the politics of it, but the natural desire is to control as much as possible, by any means possible in a lot of ways, and if the entire server decided to ally and have no PvP, then the game would be not that interesting. But I don't think at any point the entire guild or the entire game would want to do that. They would say,
But
no.
aren't we already kind of seeing the start of that in a sense?
I don't think there's enough players to really know what it is actually happening. But
Well, let's take a guild. God, man, I don't want to call anybody out. Let's take let's take Kodo, okay? I'm just gonna say let's take Kodo. They have like what, like 40, 50 active members. I mean, they could probably fight most of the active server right now and win, right? What happens when this is at launch and they win like 90% of the fights? You'll probably end up kicking people out of the game because it's just not fun to lose so much, right? And then what? Like maybe you're not an alliance or maybe your guild is just so big that like there's nothing to be done. But again, this is talking about alliances, so like let's assume that Legion and Kodo work together and do the same thing, and they're kicking people out of the game, like when they could just be also fighting each other. Like this is the problem I have with alliances. You could say Legion if you want, Pootsie.
The only thing that I think they can beat the alliances is having skilled players. Like, I know I'm gonna get flamed for this, but no one in Kodo is really good. They have like maybe 2 or 3 good players, but they just have numbers, overwhelming numbers and resources.
I don't know. I don't know a lot of the Kodo guys. I know Kutaro's pretty good, isn't he? He's like a pretty good dueler and stuff.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, they have their guys. I mean, they got, like I said, I got 2 or 3 people, but most of them, I mean, like when we had the stress test, they were just mass recruiting everyone.
I don't know. I think people just become complacent, and people are too fickle, and people are toxic. That there's just this natural cycle, and you know, it was only when the game was dead that you saw these alliances that kind of like shut things down.
What do you mean shut things down? Like kill the game?
Yeah, in a sense. I mean, like that's exactly what RPK did at the end of the game. They took like every player. They had just so many players. We basically rallied the entire rest of the server against them in one big fight at the GNAT, and they just steamrolled us. And then they took down every single keep in the game. They went from 1-1. They killed everyone's palisade. They killed every keep, and it wasn't. It was the day after the last keep in the game went down that they announced MO2.
And who was leading RPK at the time?
It was there was a feud, so I don't know all the exact details of it, but like Sack Punch and Ali and Orn were pretty much running RPK, and due to something, a coup took over the guild. He became the guild leader, and I think it was like kind of like a hostile action, but they all went with it, and they just kind of took over the server from that point under a coup's leadership.
There needs to be a daily 5-minute summary of guild drama like those UK tabloids. Yeah, the problem about that is like then like everybody hates me because it's like, oh, that's fake news. That's not exactly what happened. It happened this way. It's just too much. I mean, that would be kind of funny, but Abe News IRC.
I'm all for it, Putin. You should do it. Let the
I mean,
drama ensue,
don't
the
get me wrong.
chaos.
Like, I love talking about politics, but I hate dealing with politics. Like, politics is so like draining. Like, just dealing with like hurt people's feelings and stuff. It's like, oh, I thought we were friends. Why'd you kill me? It's like, dude, it's a PvP game, bro. Like,
Yeah,
what do you mean, dude?
I know. To answer your earlier question about alliances with Dread, if Killex had it his way, he would have 0 alliances and he would murder everyone.
That's how it should be, honestly. I mean, I get like if you don't want to like when you're out in the world and sometimes you don't want to kill this trading guild because they're cool guys. Like I get that, but like I don't think there should be like formal alliances or anything in the game. I think that's dumb, and I think it's bad mentality to assume that there should be alliances in the game.
There are so many guilds that would just fold, though. I mean, there's so many times where a guild of like 15 or 20 people, they just can't do anything. RPK shows up with a few mangs and like 20% of their guys, and these houses just fall and these guilds have to start over.
That's not really going to ignore everything I say because I said you were complaining. I don't even know what you said. What are you talking about? Like you said I was complaining? Oh, now I'm ignoring you. I'm just kidding. I don't know. What'd you say? Oh, you said I don't see how that is different than one big guild or 2 guilds in an alliance. Are you talking about from like a healthy like population point of view? Well, right now I could easily say like active players from what I know that Legion and Kodo combined probably have more population in those two guilds than like the rest of the server. From what I know, that may or may not be true. And then if you include the guilds that they're allied with, like Old Guard, Integrity, Draco Sylvan, maybe a couple other smaller guilds like in the back burner of stuff, like easily, you know. Hudson, why haven't you dyed your beard blonde yet? I'm not allowed to. Pretty much. Lumetta, you're so quiet, bro.
Just thinking on the subjects.
All right, if you guys don't want to say anything, I will talk about mounts. Mounts are
Oh, here
not
we go.
overpowered.
They're not.
Stop saying. No, I know. It's just there seems to be everyone complaining about mounts.
It's because they can't walk around on foot by themselves and come across someone on a horse and win.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just the logic of the situation. Like, you know, someone's on a horse, they run faster than you. Sorry, they have a horse. Like, that's how they're gonna play. The thing is about it is that there are negative returns. Like, horses are bigger, and you can only attack a certain target with so many mounted before you just can't fit any more mounted in there. And so, by that logic, the more foot you have compared to like if an even number group of like foot, the bigger the group is, the more effective they become at fighting mounted. So, you know, you have 1 foot versus 1 mounted. Yeah, the mounted stronger, but then, you know, 5 foot versus 5 mounted. Now things are starting to be more balanced, and then, you know, you get to like 10 foot versus 10 mounted. Now the foot probably are starting to have a bit of an advantage. So, you know, you come to a siege and everyone's mounted, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna hold your ground. So I don't know. People are so upset.
Yeah, I'm with you. Especially with war decks in towns. When war declarations are sent out, you're gonna just destroy a town if you have foot fighters versus their mounted.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, I feel like Mounted's so unfinished as well. Like they're still missing dismounts and all these things that
Yeah,
it's hard to
definitely.
say the balance.
Yeah. Yeah, and
No
they need
one's.
those.
I feel like no one's just experienced it to know, to be like, oh, okay, so, well, you know, this guy just got dismounted. He's on the ground for 9 seconds, and you just chopped his brains, and like, oh, that wasn't actually so bad. Like, we can do this all day.
Yeah, like the armor weight to get up or whatever from being
Yeah.
knocked down. Yeah,
Like,
I didn't
that's
experience
cool.
that from MO1, so I have no, I don't know how that's gonna be.
Yeah,
It's like
EQ
very
and
scary.
yeah, EQ and blunt weapons, like blunt weapons aren't dismounting properly like they're supposed to. So like all these tri-bird builds that you see on mounted just won't exist because they're gonna have to have balance. If they don't have balance, they're gonna get deleted. They're gonna get dismounted and killed instantly.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I mean,
I
what?
mean, running 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 a tribrid mounted isn't impossible, but the more you stretch your build, the less effective you have, in the less effective you are in PvP.
Mhm.
So, you know, there's some value to it. You know, I've used a tribrid in MO1 to some extent, but, you know, you're not killing people as fast as other people. You're getting shot and pulled out of the fight more often, but you can heal your teammates, and it's good to have some.
Yeah, the Drow said I feel that archery should have a bit more sway when mounted. That would bring archers closer to the combat that gives other chance. Yeah, there's like no sway as an archer right now. And I feel like there should be more sway on a mount than on foot, like easily. Like you're riding around on a fucking horse. Like I don't know if anyone here has ever ridden a horse. You're not stable for sure.
No, yeah, well, yeah, you are. So like when you ride a horse, right? You elevate yourself above the stirrups, right? And you create yourself in a neutral plane, and then you can shoot your bow on mount.
Yeah, but the horse
That's
is
how
still
archers.
moving, especially like three speed for sure. Like
Yeah,
in the game, I'm talking about.
Yeah, like I said, you elevate yourself. You bend your knees slightly and elevate yourself off the stirrups, and you'll be almost completely steady.
Yeah, it does. It really just takes a little bit of practice. I
But
mean,
you think that that's more stable than just standing on the ground and shooting?
No, I don't disagree that there should be maybe a little bit more wobble in mounted archery, but I don't think that's going to make mounted archery any harder to do. Like, it's not going to change my play style. I'm still going to kill people.
Well,
But maybe
yeah. My statement was simply that it should have more sway than standing on the ground. So I
if
didn't
you're
say it
standing
should be
completely still,
undoable.
yeah. I mean, the fact that you can move and draw a longbow on ground is insane.
What do you mean? What?
Okay, a longbow. Do
Mhm.
you know what a longbow actually looks like a medieval longbow?
Isn't it like 7 foot tall? I don't know.
Yeah, it's larger than larger than their bodies at the time. And right now you can run like full sprint with a longbow in the game.
Oh, right. I see what you're
That's
saying. Yeah.
nuts, man. But this is all realism and
Your
non-realism,
control grid.
Henrik wants to go the realistic route, but again, we have magic, so I don't know what they want. It's Star Wars.
well, the realism in Magic comes you play Final Fantasy, your character levels up. All of a sudden, you can do 20,000 damage to some low-level creature and kill it in one hit. You know that doesn't make sense. Like the human capacity for dealing magic like that. I mean, I guess again it is fictional, but that's like an arbitrary range and an arbitrary number. And it just can scale up infinitely, like in World of Warcraft when you could get millions of HP at some point. The in Mortal, there's a finite range that can only get so high based on your character's intelligence and stuff like that. So, I think that's what really bases it in realism, or at least makes it more feasible in a real world.
Your cookies has said, what about a damage threshold for the horse? After your horse takes a certain amount of damage, there's a chance of being dismounted. I don't know if being dismounted, but maybe like slows your horse down. I could see if it was damaged a lot or something. Starts to move slower. I could see that.
It's already a requirement in the MO1 system.
What do you mean? Explain.
It's damage value number as well as the ratio to blunt.
So
Yeah,
like
right now the
longbows
horse.
that can dismount then with blunt arrows or what?
I mean, they could, but you could just never get the damage high enough.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You have to reach a
Yeah.
threshold and also have a contributing amount of it be like blunt, for instance. Whereas like right now, which is crazy, you can dismount someone with like a sword, which that I don't remember that being in the first game.
I would like to see Fletcher's skill and making your own arrows, like specific types, blunt, pierce, whatever. Maybe like I don't know. And then
That'd be
having like some arrows have more dot damage than like straight up damage or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's definitely cool.
Yeah, like the poison or whatever for arrows and daggers.
Yeah. Shmerrick has a good point with IRL longbow to game longbow, but one point to understand is not everything should be realistic. Some concept needs to change because at the end of the game, it's a game. Having a huge longbow where you're standing in place to use is not a fun mechanic for a game. Well, I think we're supposed to be getting crossbows, so I think that will kind of take the place of that, where a crossbow will do probably considerable more damage, but you'll probably have to be more or less stationary to shoot it, if not moving at like really low speed.
I bet it's probably more like reloading it. You have to stand still probably.
Yeah, but I don't even think you should be able to. If it does a lot of damage, I don't think you should really be able to move much, if not like really slowly while shooting, like aiming it.
I was surprised to learn that crossbows actually were not that effective. I was watching some videos on damage, and I had always been under the impression that they did a lot of damage, but they actually don't.
Well, I mean, if you just base it off the way that they're fired, it seems kind of obvious to me that it wouldn't actually be as effective as like a longbow or something like that.
Yeah. And to that person's point, I totally agree. Like, yeah, there's fun stuff versus realism stuff, but longbows do retarded amounts of damage to mounts, even with the best armor. So I think that's a hard argument to make, but
Tech. Here's a crazy idea for footies. Find a rock and hide behind it.
Yeah, no, like he's absolutely right. 100% correct. Like I can do 40 damage to tongue steel horse armor. That's nuts.
Yeah.
My bread and butter, or my other favorite, find a cliff and jump off it.
Oh, we're talking about Vicness here?
Oh God.
Shots fired.
Smokey, you gonna take that?
I mean,
That's your war daddy.
I don't know. I've never seen Vic jump off a cliff, so I feel like he's just talking.
Yeah, was
shit.
Victus one of the
I'm
people
very-
who was alive at the end to even jump off?
In GK recently, he just fucking yoink.
Oh, yeah. I think that was an accident though. No, it looked like an
Well, of course it
accident.
was an accident.
Oh, okay. He just like accidentally like hit that fucking left, or like his horse turned or something. And he just yeeted off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do we
like
think
for-
about?
For that? That's funny though.
What do we think about starter swords? And how do we think that's going to impact launch? I'm just curious.
I mean,
I want to
I
hear
don't
from
know.
Lumetta. He's too quiet.
Yeah, for real. Oh, big AFK.
I don't think the starter sword was like crazy OP. It's like a nice thing to have. Like if you got nothing, you can kill a pig or whatever. You could kill a bandit. Kill players if they're bad.
No, I don't think it should be in the game at all after you leave Haven.
Really?
Yeah,
don't know.
absolutely. You have not done much griefing, have you?
I mean, I've used it plenty. I don't know.
You can wreak havoc with the starter sword. Plus, like I was
Maybe
saying
it's
with the
too
horse armor,
strong, but
you can do 10 damage to the tongue steel iron for horse armor with the starter sword.
I don't know.
I don't think.
I griefed a lot with my worn short swords, so I like having it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what,
What the
I'm
fuck?
saying, man.
It's the same
Like,
shit. It's just called something else.
Yeah, it's a counter argument.
I don't think water actually affects anything when you're jumping from a height. By the way, I think you just fall through the water and just die. Still, currently, at least. If someone said if there's water below, it's not a bad tactic, but I'm pretty sure you would just fall through the water and die.
I don't think so. Taking some pretty big falls in the water, I think it just stops all your damage right now.
Like, which water are you referring to? Which lake? What cliff can you jump off into? What body of water allows you to live right now?
I mean, I did it in the jungle earlier. I mean, I jump into rivers all the time, and I don't hit the bottom.
No, I'm talking about from a high height, like a cliff or something.
I don't know. I've never
Like where there's.
Yeah.
I thought it was working. I don't know.
Well, yeah, if you're talking about a river, sure.
Anyone jump off Toxai waterfall?
No.
It's a good
I
way
haven't
to-
had the pleasure.
Dude, that's the best, man. You go to donkey storage, then jump off the cliff.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get enough movement speed, so you're gonna have to take a horse and run off the edge of the waterfall and test it.
Oh, there's a fun bug with that too, by the way.
Oh, we talked about this pre live or whatever, but I don't know if everyone saw that One Punch Man video where the naked guy punched Glitch and one shot him for all of his health and everything. Apparently that's a bug that's in the game currently, so be careful of that. Maybe do wooden starter swords with really low damage. I mean, even if you do that though, like you can still perfect parry. Like there's ways to use it to grief people, right? Like running back to a fight that you have no business coming back to as a naked, but then not being able to be killed by normal means of like a melee weapon if you're good enough at parrying, and like ratting loot and stuff like that. Like there's still ways to like that,
See
like
that
make
it's
it
not
think
as
like
big
why
an
is this
issue
in the
now.
game?
Yeah, because you can just parry so much. I think that really makes a big difference. So
Especially if you're fast like a Vila, they're not killing you.
they should make the chip damage like way higher or something.
What do you mean by chip damage?
Like when you parry, like like
Oh,
how if
okay,
you
yeah,
don't have
yeah.
enough strength right now, you don't you take damage through your parry.
The durability nerf probably have a greater impact at persistence. What durability nerf? Was there
It's like
durability?
yeah, it used to have like 999 durability, didn't it? It has like 200 or something now.
Oh,
They
that's a
cut it.
bummer.
Yeah, they cut it
Oh,
to a fourth.
I'm
oh,
gonna be
okay.
really sad. I'm gonna be really sad if there's no good starter
All right,
sword.
now we know more about Smokey. Now we know he's just a little rat, just a little
Dude,
griefer.
dude, I killed like 25 horses at jungle camp with just a torch.
Yeah,
On
you're,
my
you're
dealer.
further reinforcing my point about why this shouldn't be in the fucking game.
No, it's amazing.
Like, guys, I'm murdering all the fucking horses. That don't even come here. There's no point. I'm just gonna res over and over and kill your
Jeez,
goddamn
I
horse.
know, right? What the fuck?
No magic vendor. You can't buy fucking magic reagents at Jungle Camp. You're
All they
fucked.
need to do is hit me, but they don't realize. They go to butcher and they're like, "Oh, naked guy with a torch shot, he's not gonna hurt me."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then they
You're
give
really
it
just
away.
reinforcing this whole thing. Like, I don't think you're helping yourself if that's your goal. You know what I mean?
Well,
I think
from my perspective, it's good, so I'm gonna defend that.
I'm
That's
having fun, guys. It
the
should be in the game, obviously.
Yeah.
I think for a while there, a couple of my guild guys were actually buying the 1000 durability starter swords because they were so good, just to go around and grief people with them.
Yeah, I don't, I don't know if that's something you want to advertise. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
No,
guild was just buying swords and mass to go fucking just grief everybody.
Yeah.
It was
And the other
great.
thing is that you can trade them, by the way. So you have another account? Oh, just trade yourself unlimited starter swords.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
just
there you
keep
go.
remaking.
Yeah.
They're like an army of them. Easy, dude.
I feel like in MO1 they weren't like strong enough. This was never a problem. Like nobody complained about it. They're just like, "Oh yeah, some dude with a starter sword."
Well, I did
Yeah.
say specifically how will that affect launch.
Yeah.
I think it just gives a bad impression of the game when you just have when you're a fully geared player and you're getting swarmed by like 3 nakeds with like this fucking starter sword that shouldn't even probably be in the game, and they like kill you and take your full loot character and kill your fucking horse with your Calixin or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm
Never
saying.
seen anyone do that in MO1. So
Well, you will at
Yeah,
launch.
you
You will at
played
launch.
enough, bud. Jesus.
You will at
You-
launch.
Yeah, we would do that all the time, especially in MK. You roll down there, scaffolding, you just dunk someone out and take their kit, and now you have a full kit.
Yeah, you'll see it a lot of MK Graveyard too when they're just farming. You'll have fucking
Yeah.
nakeds rolling up with their starter sword to 0 to hero for sure.
That or with mages. I mean, you roll with what? You need 2, 3 fat mages. You instant delete someone. 0 risk.
Yep. Is everyone else's mic volume too low or is Putson too high? I don't know. We're 2 hours deep. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. So I don't know. Which, by the way, we're gonna go ahead and end in like 15 minutes. Shmerrick wasn't even supposed to be here since like an hour ago, so I gotta piss like a fucking racehorse, and we'll just go ahead and wrap it up in like 15.
Okay.
Is there anything you guys want to talk about before we wrap it up? Oh, maybe I'll just move my mic back. Is that better? I think I moved it closer. I'm kind of like sad that like there wasn't a northern keep in like near Hispelia too. I think that was like a good opportunity. I think there's even space to put one. Like if you go like straight north from Hispelia when you get down the road or whatever, there's like that whole open area right there where there's like a troll spawn and stuff, but you could easily fit a keep there. Kind of sad that they didn't put one up there for the snow
Not
biome.
just not just that, but easily clear out some mountains there and put a keep somewhere in there.
Yeah, imagine like a keep overlooking the ocean. That would have been like a sick ass spot.
Or
Like
like
view and
somewhere over
everything.
Fabrinum, like the big ass mountains in the top there, and you can see Fabrinum below.
Yeah. Beautiful Fabrinum, the capital of Maryland, for those who don't know.
I could see that, man. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fucking sad, man.
I do want to put everyone's worries to rest about taming. Like, I don't know if she just didn't play MO1, but like, spend all this time to get your pet. Even you get the best pet, you get like a Minotaur with your Dominator. You get a Spider Queen. Like they can't go that far away from you, and you gotta walk them on foot everywhere. And they're not just like a one-click kill button like they are right now.
The only
You kill
reason pets got so much attention is because white bear spawn wasn't fixed. It was a 15-minute
yeah,
respawn, and everyone was fighting at Fabrum, so everyone had white bears. If you take away white bears, nobody gives a fuck about pets. Maybe Campodons now. I don't know, but I haven't seen anyone really complain about Campodons like white bears got like the brunt of it. White bears are already nerfed. They're gonna get nerfed more. It's like pets really don't make that big a difference.
yeah.
And that was also when white bears had armor, the horse armor glitch or whatever too.
Oh yeah,
So,
that was nasty. I
so
mean, I could see white bears having armor and being like actually usable on a daily basis, but like it's just it's just not there. It's just not
yeah.
there.
But you can ride your Spider Queen or your
Maybe,
Minotaur.
maybe. I mean, and then I would think that would make the gameplay like useful and more balanced because like people just weren't taming that much. You didn't see people bringing pets to fights on the regular because they just get blown up. You fight against someone at their keep, and four archers on top of their little tower just hitting your pet over and over and over and over. Like you're just out of the fight healing your pet, or you let it die.
Yeah, you'll go especially if it's like a Campodon or something where it has a
Yeah,
massive health pool.
people would bring Campodons, and it was like for the memes, and it's like, uh, you know, while you were just dicking around, you brought some Campodons to your palisade. And when people come, you just throw it into the group, and maybe you pop a mage, and maybe that does something for you.
People didn't complain about white bears at first. Yeah, no, people didn't. I don't really know when it started. It might have been like right before stress test, I think. But yeah,
I think it's when Fabrum got a lot more populated, a lot more battles happening around the area.
yeah, I know. I mean, I don't know if it was before my video, but when I like, had that video of me killing a bunch of Kodo, I know it got a lot more attention after that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that with the range of the white bears and freely being able to do max damage with a white bear and freely being able to tame a white bear whenever you wanted, and um, well, I mean, those things alone, it is definitely broken in that state. But
But you're talking about the low investment costs. That's what you're talking about.
the low investment cost, the high damage, it running fast. Oh, and then not being able to parry it, like those are so many big differences from MO1. And I mean, you'd be stupid to say that it's not broken in that sense, but um,
Yeah, we don't have Beast Mastery, Beast Influence. Beast Mastery is a special attacks for the damage. Beast Influence is the range of the pet.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, we don't have Veterinary, which tamers might pick up as well. So
yeah.
we're missing skills for sure.
Well, the skills give it extra skills though, and
Well,
more
right
range.
now everyone
No,
has
no,
full
we
Beast
already
Mastery.
get the Beast Mastery skills currently for free.
Yeah, actually, I
It's
don't
not
think that
doing
we
special
do.
attacks. No.
I
They
don't.
do special attacks. Yes, they do. They do the bite. The Campodon does the weird fucking animation.
I think it's somewhere in between, kind of like the
Okay.
horses that kind of have their baked in skills. I think all the pets just have what they have, and that's it. It's not being influenced by a skill or anything. I think when they put in the Beast Mastery skill, then the actual attacks will be,
No, Henrik
on
is.
point.
Didn't Henrik say that you're getting the skills for, or you're getting the attacks for free right now in one of his streams when he addressed it when
Maybe,
he was
but
talking
I
about Beast
I
Mastery?
can't see the attacks on, like, if I go to the Campadon, I can't see its attacks. It doesn't show them to me, so it could
Yeah.
go either way.
I also yeah I don't really know because like when a bear hits you, it says mauls you. Is a maul
Yeah,
different than an attack, or is a maul just a classification of
Yeah.
its attack?
Yeah, like, and bears in general, like white bears, you would need to hit that extreme bite 3 or whatever to get like that 100 damage plus on a training dummy, and then all the other attacks were just like heavy slash, and that was like a 50 damage attack on the dummy. So they weren't hitting those big hits all the time either. But I think though that's really where, like, the skills aren't implemented on them correctly.
That should have their attack slowed down so you could parry it like a player. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember how fast they attack.
Oh yeah, my mic is always quieter for some reason.
No, I turned you up. You're good.
Okay,
I actually had you at 80 something %. I don't know why.
we were probably in voice once before, and I started yelling.
We were in voice once before, yeah. You, me, and Omitis.
Oh god.
God, that was a fuck fest of a night, dude. We kept getting like, oh my god, he AFK'd at the tower, remember?
Dude,
Like
dude,
an hour.
rough.
Jesus Christ. Defended his honor, and then he didn't even end up dying because they just all left before they went in.
I know. And Lyrics
I was there for
basically slit his wrists.
You guys like camped the
Wait.
tower, and I just said nope and just left.
Yeah, because
Not
we
worth my
were
time.
we were gonna go do the necromancer, and we had like a squad of like 4 or 5 people, and we are all all of us except for Smokey was on foot, and we got to the entrance, and then Midas said he had to like, go pee or something. This man was AFK for like 30 minutes to an hour, but he was like around the corner sitting. And then meanwhile, we had like these griefers. Like it started with like 2 and it built up to like 4 or 5 people because it just took so fucking long. We were just like poking each other from like the stairs, like top stairs, bottom stairs. And then eventually they ended up killing us all, but they didn't kill Midas because Midas was still AFK and they like went back towards like Fab Bridge or something. Like they didn't even bother. They thought they killed everybody. Like they didn't. And Omias was streaming this too. He was just like AFK in the tower or whatever. It was. Omias laughed my ass
Yeah.
off. Yeah, dude.
But I mean, Drowse is on the right path here. If you can't reliably parry someone's pet, it does make it more OP. Because that was the way that it balanced out for like a fighter. If you come against someone who's a tamer, you just parry their pet, and then you parry return on the host. And if you can do that effectively without the Beastmaster hitting you with their weapon or magic, you could win that fight sometimes, but it was hard.
I don't agree with being able to parry something that's like directly behind you though. Like if you're running away from something, you parry down like a
Well, yeah,
spear user.
no,
Like I
yeah,
don't think that should be a thing. They need to fix that.
that's messed up.
Yeah, I haven't seen the desyncs like we saw in the first game, but
What do you mean?
so the reason that's in the game now is because you in the first game your characters would become so desynced from each other in the server that on your screen you would be behind someone, right, and hitting them, and for them, you'd be in front of them, so they'd start pairing you, but it would do nothing. So that's why that system exists.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it should be. I mean, like I do it on purpose. I'll be running away. I'm not looking at them or anything. They stab me or whatever. I just parry down at parries and it's fine or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you that I don't like the system either, but I'm just giving you the reason why Sarval has it in the game right now.
Be so bad. I explode like a water balloon.
Lumetta, you want to comment on that?
On him needing to pee.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have a tamer build. I'm gonna have a Pokemon Master build. I'll probably have a tamer and a Dominator, taming for like PVE, like making money and dominating for combat.
Yeah,
So I
don't
like
know
pets in general, but they are kind of like weird right now with
I
the
don't know if
parry
it's worth
system.
some of the time just leveling them up and stuff. That's why I'm not familiar with ML1, but the necromancy system, summoning pets pretty much in a sense, or summoning undead. Maybe that's more of a route I'd go compared to animals.
Yeah, necromancy. I hope they don't bring back the Death Knight. I hope they just have like a horde of like zombies or like a weaker mobs that are easily handleable one on one. But I hope you have like multiple weaker pets rather than one OP Death Knight. I think that would definitely be the way to go with necromancy. It would also change it up because like taming and dominating, typically you're gonna have one strong pet of some type. And if necromancy did it a little bit different and made it have multiple weak ones and it still kind of balanced out to like the same damage roughly, that would be interesting.
That would be
I
bad.
mean,
Yeah, like 2 or 3 skeletons that maybe not a lot of damage, but they can. You do it for more numbers than anything else, or meat shields.
And then just for Shmerrick, make all those skeletons archers. You know what I mean?
There you go.
yeah.
All with longbows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That'd be
mean,
good.
the mummies and stuff kind of worked like that, but they just never really had like the pressure. They're just kind of wasted in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
It's
but like
too risky
imagine
to
like if
them.
you're in a dungeon or something, right? Where there's like
Yeah.
confined space, having multiple mobs over just one mob, it's gonna make it a lot harder. Like they would be
Oh
more
yeah, for
utilized.
sure.
So they would have like even if they're weaker, easily parable, whatever, in like confined spaces, like those numbers make up. Like everything in this game is situational. Like MA is great, right? Like in most cases, like in open plains, but then you take it to like a fucking like on top of a mountain or like near like a giant lake or something, it's not gonna be as useful or whatever. Maybe lake's not the best example, but like a mountain or something.
Yeah, that's fair.
Forest.
I definitely want to see Death Knights come back though. I think the problem with Death Knights is that there were so many recipes and it had not been like they hadn't tested all the edge cases because people could just figure out recipes where they'd have these Death Knights that were faster than players, and they go and hit them and just zerg them down. But you know every single other Death Knight was taking some kind of penalty. Like you would have a high HP Death Knight, but he'd be very slow, and he's really not good for PvP. It's like a PvE pet. So as long as they can make sure to remove those broken combinations, then I don't see why Death Knights couldn't come back, and I think they should. Because like that was like the coolest thing to like mix and match carcasses to get the stats that you'd want. Like you know instead of running around taming all these creatures, now you're killing them and bringing the resources somewhere, and then you're creating like your own unique blend.
Man, it's interesting in theory, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have there's a lot more information being released in MO2 than MO1, right? So like the time it's gonna take for people to find these good recipes of Death Knight, it's gonna be much much shorter, and then everyone's just gonna run the meta builds or whatever these different combinations are. So you're
Well,
still
I
gonna
don't
end
think
up with
any
like
of
the
them
same
are
thing.
really meta. That's what I'm saying. There was only that one or two Death Knights that they could. Well, for a long time, people were really upset because the Death Knights could weak spot with a bow and shoot through walls and stuff. So that was messed up, and they fixed that to a degree. And then people figured out you could make a foot Death Knight that could like chase people down. You know,
But even if
and
it didn't shoot through a wall, if it's still hitting even decently hard enough, you have this thing that can't be parried shooting you with arrows, right? Like that's gonna be a probably OP. Like anything that's ranged pet has to be looked at very carefully. Like even bats, when they finally release them, it's gonna have to be looked at very carefully because it's shooting you at range. It's probably got some sort of aimbot on it just to make sure that it actually lands its shots. Like these things are gonna have to have extremely low damage, most likely, right? Just to be balanced. Um,
I mean, or they could miss more often, or maybe they can only use a certain number of arrows. Like maybe you have to give it arrows. There's a lot of ways that they could adjust it to make that work, but you know, from a fundamental standpoint, I don't really think it should be that big of an issue. There was just some things that they couldn't figure out in MO1 that ended up breaking it a little bit.
well, even if like, I mean, again, it's gonna be so hard to balance Death Knights if they're ranged. Like anything, any pet range, because like what happens when you bring three and they just like they all just two shot the same guy with some like again
Yeah,
aimbot
well, I
because that's
mean,
what
what
it is.
happens when you bring a Minotaur that can charge your people down, or you can bring a
It's melee.
Spider
You can
Queen?
kite it. It's gonna be much harder to kite something that's ranged.
I know, but like Spider Queens can, suck people up with their webs. Spider Queen was like arguably the best PvP pet besides
Well,
those
again,
that
I
unbroken
said
Death Knight.
anything
Yeah,
that's ranged. I didn't say Death Knights only.
yeah, I guess, yeah.
Someone asked also if the Death Knight dies, can you just cast another? Honest question.
No, so the Death Knight's like a very involved procedure to make. You have to get the summoning stone from the cave, and then you have to put your carcasses in it. But then if you don't give it a gem, you have to give it an expensive gem in order to get good damage out of it. So you have to put, two, three, 400 gold worth of gems into it to get a strong pet. And then it starts at level 1, so then you have to level it all the way up. And if you make any mistakes, your Death Knight just explodes. If you pull out another pet, your Death Knight will kill it. or if you try and summon another Death Knight, your Death Knight just blows up. And typically they don't run very fast either, so there's dog shit slow.
Oh wait, the gold investment sounded kind of low. How much did you say?
Yeah, I mean, like 200 gold is like the baseline. You would put but it's not like you could just buy this gem. You had to get the gem from like the last boss of the Satyr dungeon to get it. Was like the Guardian Eye.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. I thought you
yeah,
said 3 or 4, and then you just said 200. So that's a big difference for me. Okay, so I was just
yeah,
curious.
200 gold for that, and then like the Red Thunder egg, that was like 500 gold, and so that would be like the good thing to put in there. But most people didn't do that. It was good enough. You put the Guardian Eye in there.
Well, Drow's that's like a topic of discussion that a lot of people had in MO1. I think most people would agree that the Death Knight was broken for certain mechanics of it, but he said, well, then if it's in the game, it would be OP, but potentially balance around getting it. But the thing is, like, you can farm them pretty. If you were consistent about it, it was pretty easy to get them, and then you just had like this OP pet, and then everyone had them. Um, so
I think the
yeah,
thing
I
that
don't know.
makes them OP is that they don't require advanced creature control or creature control. You don't need pet points.
Oh, you did
That
not need pet points for a Death Knight?
yeah, that's
What?
yeah.
That's okay.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
that's why
fucked
I
up,
didn't.
man.
Wait,
Would
so you could just be a straight up footfire with the Death Knight then?
Yeah, no, and people did it. It wasn't that great of a build.
Merrick, this sounds like, dude, this is gonna be
Yeah,
good.
I think I know
Pretty
what
good
I'm
stuff.
gonna do, man. Just fucking dunking on people.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's
Death
stupid.
Knight Online, no thanks.
Yeah.
Damn, I
Yeah, I
did not
played
know that.
Sarduka, so I never had to deal with any of that shit.
Wait, so did the skeletons and shit need pet points or no?
No.
Oh my god, necromancy sounds broken.
But
Jesus
the
Christ.
skeletons are a limited summon, and yeah,
What do
I
you
mean,
mean? Like they had a duration?
yeah, you just cast them at any point. You don't need any material. I think you just need the regs for the spell, and then they get up, and
Oh,
then you don't control them manually. You have like one spell where you can say, "Hey, nearby creatures go and try and attack this thing," but they
the
don't
fuck?
follow you necessarily. They're just kind of like
So it's
dumb
like when
creatures.
you're already in combat, in the middle of combat, you'll cast a spell and just be like, go fuck something up. More or less.
Pretty much.
Okay, that's weird.
It's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of makes sense. I mean, they're not like, they don't have brains, so it's like, how are you going to have a conversation with it? Like, hey, follow me, come do this, come do that. And I guess balance it in a way. Yes. How many could you spawn? It was like 2, 3, or what?
You can just spawn as many as you want, as long as you had the
Oh
bonus.
hell yeah, let's do it. Fuck it, dude. We'll just have like 5 fucking necromancy, just spawn a fucking army in Meduli. Go wild.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so
Who
assassins
needs a
had it.
guild
They
to
demand
summon the
mana.
skeletons?
Dude, I can already see it. People go down to that little fucking like tavern in Meduli at the bottom and just spawn like 100 fucking zombies while they're naked, so they have nothing to lose. And fucking Meduli just gets overrun from the inside of like fucking skeletons and shit.
That
Oh, this sounds like a
hilarious.
great game. I love it. Let's do it.
Anything to delete Meduli off the map, I support.
Well, I'm just thinking Meduli because that's like, I mean, you could
Oh,
do
I
it in
love
like Pranesh, but it's like, it's not the same as like Meduli.
I mean, it was fine. They really didn't have much health. Like the skeletons, like basically nobody used those. People use mummies sometimes because they have like a ranged attack. But
Oh yeah, that's the stuff
yeah,
right there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they use those Ratsars with the acid spit. That's the real meta.
Wasn't there like a stone lizard or something?
Stone Lizard's my favorite. Yeah, it's really tanky. It's got a lot of health. It's not super fast, but it hits okay, and it does have a ranged attack, and it has a charged attack. But I
Yep.
mean, I never felt
Where
like I was like OP bringing that to a fight. It was just like
where did you get stone lizards from?
I was in Sarduka. Yeah,
Oh, okay. I don't think there
I
was a
used
lot of creatures in Stardew that I don't even know about. Shit.
Yeah, Sudoku's great.
I love Sarduka.
Yeah.
Would you guys have Sarduka spawn into the first continent again, or do you want to see another?
I mean, it's already
Um,
going to be the first continent.
yeah, me.
Are you just
He's
saying because they already flushed it out in MO1? Is that what you mean?
no, because he was on stream and accidentally shared his desktop and it showed all the Sardukan files.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like Sarduka. I've always been partial to like a desert environment. Anyways, I do like snowy areas a lot in games usually. So
Well, like the thing about it, well, I hate bringing this up because it just buffs GK Keep even more in that area, but like her Balter would be like a cool change of pace because we don't have a biome like that per se, like where it's
Yeah.
just like lava and like dangerous, and obviously we'd have much different mobs than we have like in Sarduka jungle and stuff like that, and like because Sarduka jungle is basically like jungle here in Maryland, so I don't know, that'd be cool. I don't know what the Sedoan Isles would look like really, but we're probably gonna have to wait until we get boats to even have that because there's no bridge or anything to it. So I don't see how they would implement it.
The Gibraltar thing, though, they already have the terrain map, but if you go over there, you just fall through the world. So I don't know.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Though, does anyone have anything they would like to say before we go ahead and wrap it up?
No.
Yeah, get rid of counter reduction. Make sure it's
Yeah.
automatic.
Yeah, well, it's 40% right now, right?
It's
Currently?
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
just. I agree.
I think that was for the whole 1vx aspect. Am I
I know
correct on that?
it is, but like, why do I need a crutch? Like, just let me 1vx and be better than 3 people. And
Well,
you
I
can
think it
already
was a
do it
way.
with a worn short sword, right? So
I think it was a way to combat like numbers meaning everything in the game.
yeah, I don't know.
They could do probably a better way because from my experience, it's hard to finish someone off if they could just. And this is what the game needs in general is better combat mechanics. And this is one of the things like I wanted to discuss, but we don't have enough time. But
What the fuck? I asked like 3 times and
no, I
that's
know.
anything I want to
I
discuss.
forgot. I'm like playing the game, kind of retarded. So.
It's all good, dude. Come to the next podcast and bring it up in chat. And we'll talk about it,
Okay, sounds
and then
good.
you can have your own opinions in chat. I'll read it out and stuff.
All right, sounds good.
But yeah, I thank you guys. Thank you, Lumetta, SaveSmokey, and Shmerrick for coming. I had fun. I think we
Yeah,
talked about some good stuff. I actually wish we talked about the necromancy because I kind of have more thoughts about it now. I didn't realize it was the way it is. I didn't realize I didn't have pet points. I didn't realize you could cast like the spell infinitely, like whenever if you have the reagents. Like that's interesting stuff. That's like kind of game changing to me if these things.
There's,
So
shout
from
out to
Arthur, the
Tumor.
Viking. Yeah, the Viking guys. I hear there's like some mana or stamina drain spell. You drain their stamina, you get stamina back, or same with mana, right? So you could be this heavy, armored guy with no mana regen. You just
Or
steal
Almighty.
everyone else's mana.
Crazy.
yeah. Maya said for counter reduction instead of damage out, change it to penalizing stamina. Wait, what? Who gets their stamina penalized? The person who perfect parries or the other guy? Confused.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be if the person hits you during your return, like instead of your damage being reduced, you just take more stamina. It makes you lose stamina or something.
How does that
I don't know.
penalizes you further? That doesn't help you.
No, it penalizes the other person. Yeah, it's just whatever.
What? I don't understand. Make any sense? Just pull the minus
It
and go
wasn't
to
a
the
good
rest of the
idea,
release show.
even in the way he intended. So just forget about it.
Instead of penalizing damage for the one who outplays, turn
Oh,
it to stam reduction. Like your swing or something costs less stam. That's like
yeah.
I don't know. That's a big gap though. Like the damage reduction is like huge in comparison to it cost me a little bit less stam to swing this. That's I don't know. It's a pretty big fucking gap. Maybe just make it free would be the only way to even get it close to what it is in like damage reduction.
Free
But
subsequent pari stamina.
yeah,
Like that.
that's basically maybe what he's
Yeah.
saying, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think it could be okay to make it so that if people hit you during your parry return, that person loses a little more stam on their swing, so
Yeah,
that
but
you have more of a chance to get
how would
away.
that work though? That's kind of weird.
You know,
Or maybe like a 10% reduction and then a free swing. Like I think that's fair. I don't know. That's just
yeah.
me. But I really gotta pee. I'm gonna explode. But
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and wrap it up here, guys. Thank you guys for coming. And I'll see you guys next time, I guess.
Yeah. Have a good
All
one.
right, man. Thank you.
All right, later, boys. You can head
See ya.
out. All right. This. All right, boys. Turn this shit on real quick, I guess. Oh, I gotta turn on my camera too. God damn, this is such a process, man. All right, thank you guys for watching. We're gonna go ahead and end it. I know Shmerrick had to leave probably soon. He was only supposed to be here for an hour. He almost stayed for the full 3 hours. I gotta go. I got to handle some stuff in real life, so that's kind of why I ended it a little bit early. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you like the content, leave me a follow. The next podcast will be on Saturday on the 16th at 12 p.m. Eastern, same time, same starting time, but on Saturday, not Friday. So far confirmed, I have. Let me see who I have. I have Glitchiness, T-Zone,
You just tuned into the latest channel
and
on
Housey
Twitch.
Poo. Thank you, Giles, for the follow, and I promise I was not ignoring you. I'm decent with criticism. It's if you guys have any criticism during the show or whatever, let me know. Thank you, IGW, for following. Thank you, Not Neon Serious, for following. Thank you, Persiv Peach, for following, and thank you, Mr. Crunch, for following. Those are all the people who followed today. Thank you guys so much. Again, next podcast will be on Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern, okay? And we're going to go ahead and end it, boys. Thank you guys for watching. Deuces.
But that can never change my mind. When it's good, it's amazing. When it's bad, it's uneasy. I wouldn't have it another way. There's no other way. When it hurts like this, never like never like when it hurts like this. We hold each other high, but we fall 1,000 times. But I'd never say goodbye or ever leave this stuff behind. When it's good, it's amazing. When it's bad, it's uneasy. I wouldn't have it another way. There's no other way. When it hurts like this, never like
Esposito. While I've confronted some formidable foes